My name is Dave Grohl.
I'm Taylor Hawkins.
My name's David Eric Grohl. I'm 29 years old. I'm a Capricorn. I was born in Warren, Ohio, and I play guitar and sing for the Foo Fighters.
I'll leave it up to you.
Dude, I'm quick. Just ask my girl.
Have you got girl power, Pat? Go girl power. Go on. Go on.
Girl power.
You seem a bit picky to me. Are you a picky eater?
You mean, do I pick what I like to eat?
Yes, I do.
When he first joined the band, I mean, we were like in love with each other. Like the minute the first time we had a beer together, we're like, we're gonna be best friends for the rest of our lives. And it's true. Like we're like this. Yeah.
Love you.
Awkward.
To say thank you very much for letting me have my own bar tonight to hang out with my good friends. You put that shot in my mouth right there. Let's do it right now. Did you get arrested?
I like to keep in shape. You know, do a little bit of workout every once in a while. Drumming takes a lot of physical endurance.
Do you find the weights help you drum better? Drum louder, maybe?
Drum harder.
What sort of things do you demand on tour?
Instruments.
Bones that I can't break.
Come on, let's go.
Whoa, there's Celine Dion.
Where?
Right there.
Do some. Thanks.
You haven't even heard it yet.
Hawkins is pretty sweaty.
I'm pretty sweaty.
Gotta be honest.
When we get going.
He's a pretty wet dude.
Yeah.
Jonesy played guitar, jamming good with Will and Ryan.
Taylor Hawkins, bring those pants out here right now. They're very revealing. Obviously not Catholic.
Hey, come on in. Come on.
We're having a barbecue.
I'm from Canada. I love you.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Oh, I'm already a little choked up at my own clip that I made. How's everyone doing tonight? It is Saturday night, and we are here for one purpose. This is not a toy show. No, this is something special. This is to honor our favorite band, one of the greatest bands of our life, and the one I know that's influenced me clearly in almost every single way. Ooh. Wow. Okay. I can't do this one by myself. This is tough. I got two of my best friends here who are coincidentally also musicians. They're not even guitarists or bass players or drummers. They're all of the above. Let's bring in my oldest friend all the way from London, Ontario, Joe Bonasia. This is the standing ovation. Hi.
How's everybody doing? Oh, not much. Glad to be here.
Are you ready to talk Taylor Hawkins? Are you ready to celebrate Taylor Hawkins and talk about Foo Fighters?
Yes.
I love the enthusiasm. But we can't do this. We need to do There's Nothing Left to Lose trio. We need to bring in, once again, a bass player, a guitarist, a drummer, and yes, even though he doesn't like to admit it, he is a vocalist. My close friend, Ryan Kenny Ferguson.
Yeah, definitely not a vocalist, and definitely not today. How's it going, guys?
Yeah, you got a bit of a cold. You got a bit of a cold there.
I'm a little bit sick, yeah, but not too sick to do this.
No. So it's 1 week today. And I promised the tone of this broadcast is a happy one that's celebratory. So let's just get this out of the way. It's been 7 days as of the recording of this that we lost Taylor out of nowhere. The first thing I did was call Joe, or Joe called me, and we both had a couple in us, and we're just both crying on the phone, and it's kind of surreal. Ferg, you heard Saturday?
No, you texted me right away, actually. Yeah. I heard
Texted
it from you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty surreal to lose the heartbeat of a band that's literally been with you our entire lives, and we're going to illustrate that tonight in great detail, all of our memories and what exactly this band means to us. So let's just throw it out there real quick. Joe, what does Foo Fighters mean to you?
Oh, that's hard to summarize in a sentence or two, and I'm usually long-winded anyway. But they are.
We'll try. Give her a try.
They are definitely one of the cornerstones of my character, of who I am, making me who I am as far as a musician, and just loving music. It's sort of a reflection on my passion on that. And yeah, I mean, it's been just a little over 25 years. So like my grown up life, it's been shaped by every song, every release, every moment.
Absolutely. Ferg, same question.
Yeah, I'd echo most of that. Definitely our favorite band all through our lives. It's crazy. We all grew up together with them, and I feel like we grew up with Dave too, and all the guys in the band.
Yes. Big shout
seen
out
countless times and all that stuff. So it's
big shout out to Kyle, Ryan, Rob, Nathan, Lisa, Iris, Treasures for Trigger. Thanks guys for joining in and celebrating with us. I watched the last concert on the tube from Argentina. Yeah, we watched that actually a week ago too. I'd seen it before. It come out obviously. It's pretty powerful, man. It's pretty powerful. But let's get on this journey. So when I bring up this image right here, how many people in the chat can say that they were there on day one when this was released? And I usually get this wrong. Joe, Ferg, July 4th. Am I right?
1995.
Yeah.
Right. It's 95.
Yeah.
Okay. Because This Is a Call came out, I think, a couple weeks before the single.
Was it July 4th or July 1st? That's a good question, actually.
See, that's what I mean. So this is a Call. So this is the 7-inch. This came out first, if you could find it. And I always get the two mixed up. But anyway, regardless, this is the very first record. And it's pretty safe to say that, you know, we're all huge fans of Nirvana. The endless debate we have, you know, or we used to have at least, who's better, Nirvana or Foo Fighters? I don't even know why we used to talk about that kind of stuff. I still couldn't answer that. But obviously we're fans of Nirvana, their work, and out of that came Dave and Dave's band. And this is a collection of songs that Dave had wrote the late 80s through the mid 90s while he was with Nirvana. And in the wake of Kurt's passing, decided to go and record them with Barrett Jones, and this is the result. So this is more or less a demo. It's obviously one of the best produced demos I've ever heard, but the first time I heard this, I picked up this tape right here from my HMV, which in Canada is a record store. Actually, it's around the world. I don't know why I said that. And put it into my tape deck in my car, and This Is a Call came in. I got to admit, right off the bat, I was really taken back. I wasn't like, this is amazing. I was kind of like, what is this? It's kind of strange. I think I expected to hear Nirvana. What was your first impressions, guys? Joe, go for it.
Okay, so just to maybe add a little background to it too, I remember seeing the commercial on TV. Foo Fighters' new album now in stores, and the music was sort of muted in the background as that was being said, and they showed no footage of the "I'll Stick Around" video, and so I didn't even know it was Dave Grohl's new band. I had no idea, And then I remember you asking me if I'd heard the new Foo Fighters, and I was like, no. And I remember you playing it for me in your room.
Yeah.
And I think it was like when we were into song 3, maybe. And you were like, "This is Dave's new band." I'm like, "What?" Like I didn't even pick it up at that point. So yeah, we were probably getting into Big Me, or it was around when Alone and Easy Target was starting. That I was like, "Oh my god!" And I mean, hearing Dave sing backups in Nirvana, it was recognizable once I thought about it. But my first impression when This Is a Call starts is that, and I thought this for a lot of the songs actually, that it just sounded so pretty. I was like, I remember thinking it reminded me of the Beach Boys. I know that sounds maybe weird to think of now, but some of the hooks and some of the harmonies and like the way Dave did like his vocals and like the backup vocals and the harmony, I was like, man, it sounds so sweet. It just doesn't, like you said, like if you were expecting to hear Nirvana, it wasn't Nirvana, you know.
And foolishly, I did. Ferg, your first impressions on Self-Titled?
Well, I'll take it back a bit too from what Joe said. The first hearing of them was a newspaper clipping I had. My dad clipped it out of the paper on a Sunday morning. I think it was a Toronto Star or something. Oh, there it is. Yeah, back in March, and he cut it out. He knew I was a big Nirvana fan, and when I woke up that morning, he said, "Hey, you seen this?" And that was the first I'd heard of the Foo Fighters at all. I took it to school. I still got the clipping, obviously. Took it to school, showed our friend Mike. I was like, "Have you seen this?" And nobody had heard of this. It wasn't, not like today where, the information flows so fast. Like you had to wait to find out that something was happening. You had to, just had to be in the right place at the right time. That being said, I was thinking it was July 1st. I think it was July 4th, but I remember it because I was up at my cottage, and that's usually a long weekend for us in Canada and the US, obviously. And I called my cousin. And I was only, at that time, I was 13, but I called my cousin who was older, and he was coming up to visit the cottage. And I said, "Hey, man, can you pick up this tape for me?" Sure enough, he did, and the rest is history. I threw it in my tape player in my cottage, in the room, and yeah, I just fell in love.
Yeah, you can look at the heading of this from the Toronto Star in Canada here, and this heading is no joke. Foo Fighters prove there is life after death, and that's just how huge Kurt's death impacted the world. Certainly, music. It brought the Seattle stuff to a grinding halt. There was some stuff that squeaked out after, but it really did die with Kurt, and it was really the end of an era. And I'm sure Chris, Dave, and Pat were fine financially. At least I would hope they were. But this, Dave being Dave, he didn't want to just sit there. He wanted to keep carrying on after a while, which is kind of why I'm worried with what's happening now, because I mean, him and Taylor were like brothers, right? I mean, him and Kurt were obviously close, but he still talks about to this day, even in his book, about how he wakes up with nightmares about Kurt. And sometimes he wakes up and he still thinks Nirvana is a thing. And he was in a band with Kurt for 3 or 4 years. I mean, Taylor's been his best friend since like 1997. So it's really kind of scary.
Yeah, it's an era.
Devastating.
Right?
Let's look at this track listing. This Is a Call and I'll Stick Around This Is a Call is such a banger right off the gate. I'll Stick Around. I mean, that's everyone. You guys know that's my favorite one. The drums on that are insane. The guitar on that is insane, let alone playing that guitar and trying to sing. Big Me was their second video, not the first. The first was I'll Stick Around, and we can talk about that if you want, but I'm good if we don't. It's generic green screen, fighting aliens kind of thing. But Big Me was the first taste we got of Dave's humor in this professional kind of setting, in a music video where he spoofed the Mentos ad. And it was the one of the coolest videos, still one of the coolest videos today, I think.
Totally. It definitely put them on the map for sure. Like, it was a very, I don't know. Everybody I feel like was talking about that video.
And all the guys, William, Pat, Nate, they're all having such a blast in the video, and all the actors that have in there, they're just having the best time. It's so silly and over the top, as was the Mentos commercials of the 90s, right?
Right.
And then we all know, or for anyone in chat who doesn't know, because we're old guys, I'm telling you, we're up there. for I think a year or two after this video came out, for some reason, people in the audience thought it was charming to buy packs of Mentos and throw them at the band. Actually, throw not the packs, but the individual Mentos.
Jeez, I totally forgot about that. But yeah,
that's
right.
crazy.
Most of the early bootlegs are him talking about that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think at one of the awards when they won a Grammy for another album that we'll get to, he I think Dave says that on the podium. He's like, okay, so just stop throwing the Mentos at us on stage. They freaking hurt, he said, I think.
Rob says, I didn't get it on release day being self-titled, but I heard a few songs. I picked it up from HMV, Stone Road Mall in Guelph. That's cool. Wicked, dude. I don't know a lot of people that got it on day one. We were obsessive Nirvana fans, so it goes without saying. Kyle says, I always said that I think Foo Fighters is what Nirvana could have became, because I believe Foo Fighters is a better band, hands down. You like Foo Fighters better. Fair enough. Lisa. Cool. Would love to know all your opinions on whether or not you think Foos will continue after Taylor. Wow. Joe, I'll let you
I was going to say, let's save that for the end of the night. No. I know what I'll take everything for face value right now. I know that my prediction, I'm not betting anything on it, but I think it's clearly like they've canceled all the shows for the rest of the year. So the Canada leg of the tour is not happening. I think that when they, take the time to grieve and settle the things that need to be settled, unfortunately, that's very tacky to say, but when someone passes, there's all this stuff that needs to be handled. And then, like that, but that's even something that's not even a Foo Fighters thing. That's like a Taylor and family thing and Dave's family. Right. So, I don't feel another Foo Fighters record will come out.
Greg, what do you think?
And I don't think they will tour again.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think it was one of the first things I said back to you that night after, the shock in about 5 minutes. All you texted me, I recall, it was very vague. Like you didn't even say anything. You were just like, what the hell kind of thing. And that's it. That's all you sent me. Yeah. And I was like, what?
It's weird, dude. It's like, how do you put this? We've all met Taylor, but we don't know Taylor. He's not our close friend, but is he family? Absolutely. What that music has done and what it's put into our hearts and what we carry with us every day. So it really felt like a family member had died. And so I think texting you and texting Joe and whoever else I texted, I was just like, I just assumed that everyone would know when I did, but it's like, I can't believe this is not happening. It's crazy.
Yeah, it was within minutes. Like our other friends, Andy texted me, Mike texted me. And then, like I said, a few minutes, maybe 5 minutes passed. That's what I said to you. I said, I can't see this going on. I can't see Dave going on.
It's one of those things where, of course, being family and growing up with the band and having it be such a, your life revolved around it, right? Like between going to shows and going for record releases back when those were a thing. I remember even going to like some bars where they would have like the release parties, and just like so much of our friendships revolved around like, hey, when are we going to get together and jam? When are we going to get together and go see a show? When are we going to listen to this album together? Like it was so much of the time that I wasn't sleeping was spent doing those things and thinking those things. Right. And, yeah, so I feel it's to say that they'll never put another release out at all. I don't believe.
Well,
I think that's another question, right?
That's impossible. I mean, maybe not under the Foo Fighters banner, but even at that, I initially thought no. I think eventually yes. Dave will never stop making music. That's what he lives for. That's never going to stop. When we get music, when he wants to show himself, I don't know that.
Is there a Foo Fighters record like?
But this isn't like
sitting in a DAT machine ready to get released. Like, how do we know? Maybe
I doubt it. I'm sure they got stuff down, but this isn't like the firing of Franz. This isn't like the firing of William or any member. This is someone is gone. and not by choice. So
Well,
it's going to be a long time, I believe. So all we can do at this point is be absolutely thankful for everything that we have. I remember I'll stick around dominating Much Music. It was crazy seeing Dave sing. Yeah, it was surreal. And you guys remember the first performance live was on David Letterman, their first public appearance. And it's pretty, I mean, I know I've just started seriously playing guitar last year, and I know I couldn't even stand up and play. And I remember the first time I got up to the mic and tried to play and sing, I was just terrified. So I can't imagine like a guy who already is a professional and is afraid to do that. Do you know what I mean? Like you could clearly see Dave is uncomfortable with it in those early performances. And I think you can hear it in his vocals and Foo Fighters.
Yeah. I mean, going back to, Dave talks about it in the various documentaries that have been put out, but like you're sort of in those days you're still like in Kurt's shadow almost. You're still in like, some people love Nirvana, some people hate Nirvana, but what you can't deny is that it was the new guard of music. It was the new rock. It still sounds like the future of rock. And so like when
us, I mean, we've seen several shows lately where Foo Fighters is a dad tier now, dad rock band.
Yeah.
Of course it's gonna sound great to us. And I was just saying that today. I'm like, and listen to Everlong. I'm like, this sounds just as good as it did in '97. It's like, but does it, or is that my dad rock ears now? Like I'm gonna bring this photo up here, and Ferg, maybe you can give us an explanation as to what this is.
Oh, geez.
Oh my goodness.
This is well, that's Jay on the left, our good buddy Andy there in the middle, and the background there, that's
Look
Dale
at that
Crover's drum set.
Look at that big Tom. What could that be?
Yeah.
What could that
Dale
be?
Crover.
Let's find out. Oh wow. Look who that is.
Yeah.
So Ferg, why don't you we're laying down a timeline, guys. We're gonna try and go through our Foo Fighters journey the best we can, chronological order. Thank you, Ferg, for all your work you did uploading all these photos. I really appreciate it. Okay, so we're clearly at the Melvins here. What year would this be? This is in London, Ontario, our hometown.
Yeah, this was in
95, right? Or 90?
No,
okay.
This is 97. Yeah,
this was the Helmet show, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that was an epic show.
Oh, it really was. It was about. We had 3 shows in 7 or 8 days or something like that. 10 days, I think it was. So it was this show, and then we had a couple Foo Fighters shows on deck.
Yeah.
All in 10 days. It was absolutely insane.
This was a club in London that no longer is standing called the Embassy, where our band, which was called Rev Lover, we played many, many times. And as you can see, the stage wasn't very high. So there's Buzz, of course, from Melvin's, and he's right there in front of us. It's crazy. I remember us going outside because they didn't really they had a band room, but I think for whatever reason the Melvins didn't want to be in it. I can only imagine how filthy it was. And they were just kind of outside the club.
Yeah, they were loading their own truck, if you remember.
They were loading their own truck. Well, I mean, that's very no effects, right? That's just kind of the way they are, right?
Yeah.
And
it's funny that you say that because I recently just saw a Buzz article, and it said we didn't have roadies. Like Kurt was our roadie, and like sometimes Chris would drive us places. Anyways, just a little.
And so we were standing there, and there was the group of us there, and I gotta flex a little bit here. Just let me flex a little bit and say that I was the only one to this point to see Foo Fighters. I saw them on April 3rd, 1996. That's very important for the rest of the story going forward. Okay, so that's out of the way. So we're standing out in front of the embassy here. And we're all terrified because you know what it's like when your heroes are there in front of you, and it's like you want to go talk to them so bad, but you don't want to look like a fanboy. And even further than that, God help it if they swear at you or if they say get out of here, kid, or they don't like you. And Buzz is a scary dude. Actually, Dale's scary looking too. Like those guys they're no joke, right? They're sweethearts, 100%. But to look at them, you're like, oh my God, like I'm so terrified.
Then. Especially then when they were still really young.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, crazy.
I was 15 at that time. Like,
so we go up to them, and of course, I'm the one who talks because I think I lost the paper, rock, scissors or whatever. So I had to speak to them. And what do you think I said? I said, "Hey, Buzz, do you like Foo Fighters?" That's what I said to
I remember
Buzz
that so
Osborne of the
vividly.
Melvins. And Ferg, what did he say back?
He's like, "Yeah, I know those guys." That was his response.
Very like unimpressed, not mad, but very just like, "Oh my god."
Yeah, we're friends with those guys. That was
What a
kind of his
stupid thing of me to say. It was like, and this echoes my stupidity and most of the shows where whoever we met, it was just like I needed to get to where Dave was. And so it was like asking, but we'll get to all that stuff. That was a killer show. Let's see whether there's look at this. I mean, who's got drums like this anymore? Look at this.
You.
That is Dale Crover of Nirvana at one point. And look at that. Look at that drum set.
Yeah, that's definitely a floor tom mounted on the front of the kit.
These are just.
But then look at those. But then look at all those other toms too.
Look at this. You can't see my mouse pointer. The one on the very, very screen left. Like it's like an even deeper. Looks even deeper than the floor tom, and then he's got the gong.
It's a bass drum put on its side.
And that weird. Remember, Dale always had these weird metal things he made, like that thing in the middle. It looks like a bow tie. Just the
he beat the hell out of that. He'd have to change it every time we saw him. Like,
oh yeah, he dented it
shatters.
too. Yeah. Kyle says, "Ain't no shame in being a fanboy as long as you aren't obnoxious." Well, I like to think that we weren't. It's really hard to say at this point.
I think we were pretty self-composed, I'd say.
There's another one of Buzz. All right. Oh, we got to put this one up. We got to put this one up here. Look at this.
Oh yeah.
Look at this.
Me and my buddy Andy.
That is baby Ryan.
Yeah.
Wow.
On the left, baby Ferg.
Baby Buzz.
Buzz
Baby
being
Buzz,
too cool for school, and then of course Andy right in on him.
I think that was supposed to be just my picture, but no, I'm kidding.
Amazing. Oh, was that? Oh, I forgot about this one. I don't even have this picture. I don't have this picture.
You don't? Oh man.
No. Or if I do, it's like somewhere I don't know where it is.
He's so happy. Buzz is so happy.
And
I feel like he wasn't as annoyed as he looks.
The funny thing about meeting any of your heroes too, isn't it funny how small they are? Like you just think of these guys as larger than life. And look, I mean, I was really small back then. Not now, but back then I was really small. And
He didn't really grow any taller since then. So I mean, it's...
no, I but the other way though.
Yeah.
But look how tiny Buzz is too, right? I mean, if you shaved his head, it's like I bet you his head's smaller than mine.
Oh my god,
it's craziness.
Yeah, I never thought about that.
All right. So we're going to get to this place. And this is really the beginning of everything. The April 3rd was great. I will always go down as the one who's the only one, I believe, that saw William. Did you? I don't think, Joe, did you ever see William play?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
Actually, maybe we should mention that in a minute for a second. How
sure
that where was that again? The April 3rd.
Toronto Concert Hall.
Concert Hall, right? And they played with the Breeders, I believe.
That I can't tell you, man.
I think the Breeders.
That sounds about right.
Or it was a band that Kim Deal had maybe on the side.
I don't remember it being the Breeders because I would have remembered that if it was.
Yeah, I think if you checked your ticket stub, it would come to you quick. But I was gonna say that photo from the Back and Forth documentary from the concert hall, you're dead center in the photo.
Yeah. That I should have got a picture of that. I had This Is a Call single shirt on, and it was back then. Concert shirts, when you didn't go to the concert and you just bought them at your local rock shop, they were always huge. Even if you got a medium, it was like a dress. So I remember for whatever reason I got a large, and you can see this thing just hanging off me. It's like a dress. But let's move forward. Now this is just seeing this symbol here almost brings a tear to my eye, and what this image means to me and what it means to us. This album in particular. This is Color and the Shape from 1997. I don't know. Arguably, most music critics would say this is the best Foo Fighters record. It certainly has 3 of the biggest hits. I'll start us off with this one. The great thing about growing up when we did without the internet, or at least the very infancy of the internet, is that you actually had to go and get physical objects. You had to go get the record. And actually, Ferg, maybe I'll get you to tell this story. Joe and I will go into the contest where we won all the records at Hillbilly Willie's, but you bring us up to that where we went down to HMV, which is a local record store. That's a great story. So
yeah. So before I go into it, when was the Monkey Wrench video released? Before or after the record?
Before.
All I remember is being in your TV room, Ferg. We all saw it at the same time for the first time, and there was a blonde. We called him the blonde kid.
Yeah,
he was a kid. They're all kids, but the blonde kid on drums. And we didn't have the internet, so there was no like constant flow of information, right? So it's like, okay, where's William?
Yeah, we'd heard something rumbling somewhere. Must have been in some magazine.
That's not William. And I mean, Taylor stuck out like a sore thumb. But there's a lot about that video. Even Dave was completely different.
Yeah.
No long hair. I think this is the first time we've ever seen him without long hair, and a Fu Manchu. He just looked and he had the black turtleneck, and he kind of looked like John Lennon a bit. It was really crazy.
Yeah. It was, that was a big, like, especially that song. It hit so hard. We were all just blown away.
That song's incredible.
We had we had a bunch of bootlegs prior to that, so they had played a couple of songs kind of in the past. Like we'd heard My Hero kind of early, Up in Arms.
I think My Hero was called Chicken Derby.
Oh yeah, no, that was My Poor Brain. I think.
Yeah, Chicken Derby was My Poor Brain.
That's right.
Which actually they played April 3rd.
Oh yeah,
which is crazy. They played that, and remember Satan's in the Manger? Remember that jam too?
Yeah,
oh, man.
Yeah, that was like the intro to Butterflies, right?
What's up, Christine? Yeah, he was the guy from the Honest Video. Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess
drummer. Yeah.
I guess so. When you saw the video, and I don't want to steer this off track too much, but when you guys saw the video, was it that it was who's the blonde guy, or was it already? No, did you already know that it was the drummer from Alanis Morissette? Because Alanis Morissette was like the biggest thing right then.
I think I knew, but it's hard to remember.
This is how I remember it. And Christine, you were around. Maybe you can chime in. I remember it that we didn't know he was the guy from Alanis. The blonde hair really stood out to me. I don't think I recall that he was the drummer for Atlantis because we were so surprised. And if we knew that he was the drummer for Atlantis, we wouldn't have been as surprised when we saw him because we would have, found out what he looked like or whatnot. But it was such a shock to see him at first. So I don't think we knew that.
Do you remember that Atlantis had a live version of the song You Learn?
Yes.
And they had a video for it, and that shows so much footage of Taylor.
The one where he's going down the wind chimes.
Yeah. And you just see so much of him drumming. Like it was cool that obviously it's her band and she's the center of attention, but like in that video specifically, it's like you saw a lot of the live footage, which obviously you're gonna put, Taylor with like these, octopus arms going on it's exciting to see, right? And I think that was the connection for me because I think that video was already out by then. So it's like, clearly, right? Because it would have been in between him joining Foo Fighters. And so it was like, I think I knew that it was not just the blonde kid. I knew that it was the drummer from Atlantis. And the song ripped, right?
Oh,
and I was gonna say, you said he kind of reminded you of like John Lennon-esque, but to me, actually, out of the corner of my eye, I thought it was Prince. Like when Prince
Dave?
Because like Dave, he kind of had his hair all nice and that like very manicured goatee, and I was just like, is that Prince? Obviously not in the scene where like they're walking to the elevator and stuff. I knew who that was, but
Christine says she wrote a song about him after he left, I think. Yeah, that sounds about right. I remember there's all the crazy rumors going around that he slept with her and stuff like that too. I'm not sure about any of that, but the whole story of how he knew that. I mean, like they say in Back and Forth, right? He was in the biggest band at the time. He was in Atlantis, and she was the biggest band at the time. But he wanted to do more. He wanted to write, and obviously, if you're in Atlantis' band, what she says goes, right? I guess that's not too far off from Foo Fighters if you think about it. But
Yeah, but I think
more collaborative.
More
I think,
more his style of music at the very least.
A good gig nonetheless to be Atlantis' drummer.
Yeah, like
especially when
you're not
she's, like,
playing
the
small
biggest band.
clubs with Atlantis. So we get wind somehow that the color and the shape, you can go downtown to HMV and listen to it.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't think we had wind. I think we just went down to. I don't know. I can't remember exactly how that
In the
went.
good
but we
old,
went
in the good old
fast.
days, when they would have
The listening booths.
yeah, you could listen to it before you bought it. It was amazing.
Yeah, because they had they get copies ahead of time, promotional copies, and so it wasn't even the real disc. I remember they showed it to us. They pulled it out.
It was orange, right? Do you remember it being orange?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
So we went over, and I remember like there's how many people were there? 3 or 4 of us. Mikey, you, me.
I remember the 3 of us. Yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
It was just us 3, and we each kind of put a headphone on and like started listening to the tracks, and that's kind of how it went. And I remember vividly, we were so excited. It was obviously the most exciting thing. I remember vividly though, because we'd had Up in Arms. We'd already heard Up in Arms. And I remember getting to the Up in Arms track, and it was slow.
Yeah.
Like, what? Oh no!
Yeah, it has that slow intro, and I think that
it
is
stayed
actually,
that way though. It didn't do the it didn't have that breakdown. It just stayed slow the whole time.
Yeah, and we were like,
what the
heck?
No, I think it does get loud. It does do the part like those, and I think
on the album
that's William. That's also William on that recording. That's not Dave.
Well, William does the slow.
No,
part.
he does the slow part.
Yeah,
He doesn't do that. He does the
but
slow
no,
part.
but
I think
I'm
he
saying
did Doll too.
we heard that song on bootlegs before Color and the Shape came out, but it was all slow. They didn't do the fast part, so we're just like,
no, it was the other way. It was all rock.
Really?
In the bootlegs, yeah.
Yeah, if you watch the Brixton show,
that Brixton Academy show, and that's why we were kind of bummed when we were listening.
Awesome
to it, like,
show.
Oh man.
Oh, that makes
yeah.
sense.
Like they slowed the song down. What the heck? But, I'm not
leading any more stories because I clearly don't know what I'm saying.
Well, I'll just say that real quick as we allude to the Color and the Shape tour shows. But I just have to say, I remember watching Brixton. It was on Much.
Oh, dude!
And I think I have it taped on 5 different VHSs in my house now because I think I taped it a couple of times because I kept losing it. Back in the good old days when you would just record stuff from Much. So, I don't even know if I like this song. Let's just record it and find out.
Yeah.
But I just remember thinking the first 3, 4, or 5 songs of that concert were just like boom, boom, boom. And I just remember thinking, look at how Dave's playing the guitar and singing. and to go back to what you were saying earlier, Jay, he did not look like the he didn't look like the nervous kid playing on Letterman anymore.
No, not anymore.
It was all, and that was not even a huge amount of time. That was like, okay, we're going to Europe, first tour. So just within those 6 months, he became.
And he came up with enough space. And Dave really has this interesting way, at least back then, of songwriting where I think he took a lot from Kurt. And Kurt's famous for saying music's first, lyrics are second. And Dave would always write these riffs and not have lyrics. And that was My Poor Brain. In Toronto, when I saw it, he had no lyrics. He was just blah, 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 blah. And Enough Space, I believe, in Brixton. I don't think. Is there lyrics in that? Yeah, there's a little bit. But he would always Down in the Park. When they played Down in the Park the first time I saw him, he didn't remember the lyrics. It didn't matter.
Yeah, when he
just
played
kept, who does that?
Gary
That's
Newman
crazy.
Did they do Down in the Park as an encore? Do you remember?
I actually watched that show today. I think it's the second last song. It's the second last song, and then Exhausted is the last one. Yes.
Yeah, so I think it was part. Yeah, I think Down in the Park was the first encore song.
Yeah.
I remember seeing clips of that and being blown away that they played it live.
So every single one of these songs, I don't even know how to. They're legendary. Maybe the weakest being Walking After You, although when they re-recorded it, it was a lot better. But this again is arguably the greatest album. It's not my favorite. We'll get into favorite records soon enough.
How about here's a weird criticism. Favorite song, least favorite song on this record.
Enough Space is my favorite. Oh, but February Stars, I don't know, man.
New Way Home, Beach.
New Way Home, dude. Yeah, New Way Home is just insane.
I think at the time, like Everlong just really stood out. It really is.
And that's funny. Joe was like, we went to a listening party for this at a bar called Hillbilly Willie's.
Yeah.
You heard it right, Hillbilly Willie's.
I was underage. It was like a Thursday night, and I think it was like DJ Raz was like, and like he had all these trivia questions. Like, if you know the answer to this, come up and get a CD. So like me and Jay leave with like 20 CDs at the end of the night because we're the only ones there that even knew.
We literally answered. This was like more or less like a pop dance club, but they started to dabble with the Hawk radio station.
I think they did it Thursdays.
The Hawk. How they would come in and play some rock songs for like 40 minutes or whatever in the night, and they were trying out these rock nights or whatever. And so the weekend before The Color and the Shape was released, they were having all these contests where they were giving away like promo posters, and they're giving away the actual disc a whole weekend.
A listening party or something, right?
Yeah, a whole weekend before, and me and Joe answered everything. Absolutely everything.
It was you and I and Darren, I remember.
Was it Darren? Was Darren there? Yeah. So we walked out with all these discs, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, Ferg, but I believe everyone got one. I gave them to everybody, right?
I'll never forget the next day we came over to your place.
Yeah.
I didn't know what had happened the night before, because I don't know if you guys expected any of that to happen. You were just going for the listening party, but you didn't know there was actually the record was going to be there.
Yeah, we didn't know we'd come home with 10 copies of the record.
No. So you threw it at me. Like, we sat down and you like threw it at me, and I picked it up, and I almost lost my mind. We just couldn't believe it.
I never in my life felt so cool as when I was handing those out to everybody. Because it was just, I don't know, man. It was so awesome. And what a celebration. Another thing we'll get further into is how every record was celebrated. Almost every single that came out was celebrated, because there would be like almost every other single, there would be a B-side. So a brand new song, right, that we hadn't heard before that you couldn't get anywhere else.
Days.
Yeah.
The good old days. So favorite song, I'll pick one. Enough Space. Joe, you got to pick one.
My Poor Brain was
not Everlong. Are you kidding me? You went out on Everlong so much. You were going on about that for.
Okay.
We were sitting there in the booth. I remember you're like, "Oh my god, this guitar is insane for this song."
Oh man.
Okay, My Poor Brain.
You're making me emotional. No, I was getting just to at least highlight that point. I just remember, and even Dave says it, but I remember when you're listening to the whole record, like Everlong's like third from the end. So like, and like epic, long, quiet, then really loud February Stars. And then they follow up with this. And it's like, it just starts in so quiet, like kind of sounds like it should have been like music for like a horror movie, kind of like scary and weird. And it just reminded me of Sonic Youth. And I just,
as the video was,
it was kind of
almost
nightmarish.
a spoof of Evil Dead, right?
Yeah.
So.
And I think and I will, not to be like I was the first one that knew, but like I remember that day. What I really liked about My Poor Brain was just like the real 80s vibe of the song. I just really, it stuck out to me.
Favorite song, Ferg?
Well, I think at the time, I still to this day, I can look at each one of these and go, "Oh, that's my favorite song." At the time, we were into heavier stuff, so Wind Up was pretty awesome at the time.
Oh yeah.
Monkey Wrench
was the opener,
powerful.
I believe, at Clutch Cargo was Wind Up.
It was.
It sure was.
Yeah.
But I would say Everlong is probably my favorite off the record. With Hey Johnny Park gets a special nod too.
Hey Johnny Hogs. Come on.
Hey Johnny Hogs. One of my faves. Still love. So.
Yeah, I knew that Everlong would be the one that broke the band. I felt like not like they needed to be broke. Like everyone knew it was the guy from Nirvana, and like second record, and they're getting popular, and Monkey Wrench was getting heavy rotation. So like the band was already climbing those ranks, right? But I just knew it. I just knew it was just freaking so good. And just to this day, even though some people would say it's so overplayed, it just doesn't get boring.
Yeah, but it's overplayed for a reason.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's
the
popular
classic.
music is overplayed for a reason. Lisa, I promise we'll answer that. I'm going to save that one probably for the last question. That's a very, very good question. Rob says playing Everlong on the drums on Rock Band for the 360 was so fun. I smashed on those plastic drums like a real kid. Yeah, I
It's
mean,
a hard song.
good for you because I'm so terrible on drums on Rock Band because I can't read the colors at the same time. But good for you, man. That's a tough one to do on Rock Band.
Oh,
I think people don't. It sounds so flawless and seamless and effortless on the drums, but until you
Yeah.
actually get behind the kit, that one will always stand out to me as a challenging song. I know even for you, Jay, who
Absolutely,
you do a great job of it, but it's a workout.
Tim, thanks for joining us. This hurts so bad. These days and Everlong have been played a lot more than normal the last days. Rest in power, T. Yeah, the Foo Fighters' greatest hits is in the Billboard. I think it's in the top 5 again.
Oh
the
wow.
Billboard charts because of everything that's happening, which is I guess that's good. All right.
Well, like it's a terrible loss, and I know that we're not emphasizing that again. Like we're here to celebrate and talk about the.
Well, we'll get into that
yeah,
at the end, absolutely. But so we're here to celebrate what he's given us, what they've given us. I don't think there's more of an iconic image than this.
For us, that's for sure.
For us, yeah. And everyone in chat's like, it's just a big, dirty old building, and that it is. But this was our first show together. Date? Know the date out? Anyone?
This was Clutch Cargo's. This was July
5th.
the 3rd.
July 3rd, 1997.
Yeah, I knew it was an odd number, 3 or 5.
So this is my second show, everyone's first show, but it's the most iconic. It's the most memorable for reasons which you guys are about to see.
Yeah. The hype was real at this time. We had just gotten the record. We loved it so much. We were playing the heck out of it. And this particular venue is in Pontiac, Michigan.
It's in Pontiac, Michigan. Yeah, absolutely. So I'll give us a little bit of a backstory here. If I screw it up, correct me. Our mutual friend Rob was one of the only people that we knew who had his own car at the time, I believe. And so I don't know how they let us cross the border, but 5 of us jammed into this turbo, which is basically, I think it's like a Ford Escort equivalent. It's a very small, compact car.
Didn't have enough seatbelts.
It was a 4-seater. It was a 4-seater hatchback,
and there was 5 of us.
And
there's 5 of us. So I think Joe got the hump. Joe, did you get the hump? Did you guys trade?
Yeah.
Or did I get the hump?
Luckily, we were all a lot skinnier then. Like, we crammed into that car, but it wasn't too bad.
And I mean, we were a lot younger. I'm not going to throw out ages, but let's just say the fact that they let the 5 of us across the border to the United States, we were way too young to go across the border. I don't even know. We didn't even think about anything like that back then, right? It was just like, we're going to Foo Fighters. Okay, this is where we got to go. Let's go.
Well,
and that was pre 9/11, right? So they weren't as strict at the border. So
yeah, but we were kids, dude. Like,
I know.
It's crazy. Like,
I remember I actually got a note from my mom. Like I had her write a note for me in case the border guy asked.
Dear Mr. Border Guard, please let Ryan go, and here's his sack lunch with him.
It's bananas that they let us cross. I don't know.
They let us cross.
Like you said, pre 9/11, smoother transition over. That's a small border. Like, that's already a border, right?
Yeah,
it's an hour away. I think that was the big thing. Like, that was my first time ever being in the States.
Yeah,
so
and we had the tickets and stuff.
Yeah, it's like not only are we going to see the Foo Fighters, but we're doing a road trip in the States.
Let's get through these slides here, and we'll let everyone in chat comment, and please continue to throw out your moments if you guys saw them this long ago. If you're unfortunately this old, let us know. But we showed up a couple hours, I think an hour or two early. Actually, it was way earlier than that.
We were there in the afternoon.
I don't know why. And we kind of pulled into this. Clutch Cargo's is like an old abandoned church. where they have shows, and we pulled into the back lot to park, and we're like, okay. I mean, so what are we gonna do for a few hours?
Empty lot too. Like it wasn't like
There's nobody there.
It's like 2 or 3 in the afternoon, right? So like we're literally the only car in the parking lot.
Yeah, I'm just
other than a couple of those like utility trucks close to the loading dock.
So we're sitting there, and we're the car is parked, and we're like, well, should we get some food? You know, what are we gonna do? Obviously, bars were out of the question. You know, it's like, what are we gonna do? And then, as I remember, just out of the corner of our eyes, we turned, and there's this big, giant, larger than life red bus that pulled in. And I'm gonna get emotional probably talking about this, but this is the first image that I recall seeing. So that's
Yeah, I guess I was wrong. There were a couple other vehicles.
That looks like my old Blazer. Yeah, so that's Taylor and Pat getting out, and the woman on the right, I believe, is security for Clutch Cargoes. And we were literally standing there frozen.
Total shock.
To say that these guys are idols to us is a complete understatement. We didn't know what to do. We didn't know what to say. Joe, I'm going to let you take over the story from this point.
Well, okay, so it's probably one regret I'll always have in my life is that we were too in shock, and like we were literally leaving the parking lot, and we hear the growl of the bus engine. So we turn, and these buses are pulling in. You know, so it's almost like an almost famous moment. We're like, no way, that's the Foo Fighters showing up like after us. Right?
Yeah.
And I just remember, like, again, the regret that I have is that here's the new drummer right in front of us. Here's Pat Smear right in front of us, and we didn't even say a thing. Like, obviously at that time, maybe, you know, we were just so mesmerized that we were going to see Dave. Like, we didn't think this was going to happen, right? So I think that's what the shock was. Like, Dave Grohl's going to walk off that bus in like another minute. And I remember thinking, wow, Pat is tall.
Yeah,
like,
he's
you
big.
You don't really get that vibe like from all the Nirvana footage, and you definitely don't get it like from the early Foo Fighters concert footage. You just don't get an idea. But you know, Dave's like 6 feet tall too, so you're not sure. But like when you see when that's the one thing I thought, Pat is thin and he's tall. Holy, he was a presence more than, you know. He's sort of like very quiet, right? Like, look, you could like see his neck and his chin there. You know,
so these are all photos taken by, not by me, but this was, I believe, Joe, this was your camera.
Yeah, well, I think I bought. I literally.
Disposable.
I don't know why I thought to buy a disposable camera, but here we go. Perfect.
Way before cell phones, way before digital-ish cameras. This was like a Kodak disposable camera that these are taken from. And like these images are absolutely insane. And you're absolutely right, Lisa. You could tell in the germs how tall he was actually. Yeah.
I remember us like just total shock here. I do feel like BJ said something, you know, of like, "Hey Pat," kind of thing. But like other than that, we just were frozen.
I think
we just watched them walk by. Like, did we just let them go by? Like,
yeah, I think he kind of like gave us a look like, what, you're not going to ask me for my autograph? I was in the germs.
Well, he's looking right at you, Joe, right now. If you're the one, I think the camera got passed around. I don't remember, but he's looking right at whoever's taking the photo right now.
Yeah. It's kind of a shame it wasn't like a better camera, but it's
There you go.
Baby face.
So
Dave
there's
and,
on the
Aniston.
far right, the blown out white image is our good buddy Mike Lang. I believe that woman is, again, the Clutch Cargo's security, and the woman who's kind of cut off on the far left is actually Louise Post from Ruga Salt, who Dave was dating at the time. So she was there with him, and
it's crazy.
I'm going to embarrass myself because I remember this jacket he had on because I tried to find one like the next day. The shirt he had on, it's not too far off from today, actually. But
I remember us being shocked that he was clean shaven too, because we'd already seen the Monkey Wrench video. So we're like, oh my gosh.
And he didn't have is Kurt funeral parted hair, which was basically just his long hair but cut short. This was the first time we had like the Beatles kind of cut, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like,
so-
but he looks like how he looked in Nirvana. You're like, it's like kind of a little bit of a time warp for a second. You know,
this is Everlong Video Dave, 100% right here.
Yeah.
The Pretender was one of my go-to songs anytime we'd convoy on deployment. Oh yeah, 12 and 17 hit so hard. Yeah, Pretender is one of those iconic songs.
Such a good
Absolutely.
tune.
We'll keep going here. So that's Mike with Dave. Yeah. I love how you blocked the other person. That's great.
Yeah, we'll leave him anonymous. That guy off to the side was actually, if I remember, he was trying to pass Dave a 20.
He was really annoying. Yeah,
because he wanted to get in. Like he didn't have tickets. The show must have been sold out. Because
there was some weird story about how his girlfriend was from Japan, I remember, or something, and he just kept talking and talking. So, okay, this is my version.
Note the Dave autograph too, where he does the heart around his GG.
The purple, and there is that's Ferg's ticket stub there, signed, and the Clutch Cargo flyer for the show. Like, how wicked is that?
$15. Look at that.
Yeah. So we're sitting there.
Can't buy a beer for $15 at any of the shows anymore.
No.
Feeling very uncomfortable, not knowing what to do. And I think, Joe, are you taking the photo here?
Yeah.
Okay, so Joe's taking the photo. I lean in, and I specifically remember pulling Ferg, because Ferg's like, I'm not getting in the. I'm like, get in here, and I pulled it, and Ferg's actually going, like
on the
he
worst,
felt very uncomfortable, but I dragged him in the photo anyway.
I think the other thing too is, like, I know that in hindsight, I wish I had said, here guys, take a picture of me with Dave, but I think we're also like trying not to bug him.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean? Like,
always very respectful.
Yeah.
Always. And it was just kind of one of these things where never in a million years would we ever have expected to see this.
Yeah.
Right.
I just remember yelling, Dave, when he came off the bus. He just looked at me. He was like, shh, kind of like smiling, but kind of also annoyed, like, stop.
And remember, he went inside and then he came back out. And he's like, I got to go do something here and I'll be back out. I promise. Remember? So he went in and then he came back out.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot. Actually, I totally forgot about that.
What's going up, Rhett? Foo Fighters versus the 80s vintage Food Fighter toys. Who would win? Oh, that's a tough one.
Rhett.
I'd love to see that fight for sure.
Stirring the pot.
Oh,
okay, so this is us in front of Foo's Red Tour bus. So on the far right is our friend Rob, then me, then Mike, then Ferg. Joe, you're taking the picture again.
I forgot that Rob had long hair like that for a while.
Rob used to have really long hair, yeah, and he has a hovercraft shirt on. How crazy is that?
Yeah, that's the what was that? That was the Eddie.
That was Eddie Vedder and Dave.
Dave and did Crystal Felch
and Mike Watt. It was Mike.
Oh yeah, Mike Watt. It was the Mike Watt album, right?
That's right. So that's when they were. Everyone was opening for everyone, and so the tour was the Mike Watt tour, and it was like changing instruments, and it was quote unquote a different band, but it really wasn't.
Was it? Remember Dave said, "He's like, I'll play drums for you if you let my band open."
Yep.
So Dave was playing drums
on
for
the
Mike Watt,
tour, and then Ed was playing guitar and I think singing a bit.
Yeah.
But that's a great. Like, look how massive that bus is. Where do you get blinds like that? Let's keep going here.
There you are, Joe.
I can't wait to see Babyface Bonasia because damn, you look like you could have been in the Jersey Shore, man. You're one slick.
I was gonna say, I think Leonardo DiCaprio just got off the bus.
Oh,
and like we took a photo with him too, but I was taking the photo.
So this is me shooting, and once again we have Rob and then Joe second on the left, and then Mike and Ferg again. And I keep forgetting.
I remember I was so excited to rock.
Look how far away this shot is. What are we doing?
Well, dude, this is a disposable camera, and for anyone who remembers these things, dude, you just put your eye in the hole and you hope for the best, man. Because you can't zoom.
No.
Right. And I remember that it was very critical. I think the white was the roadies, right? Or the tech guys, and the red was the band. I wanted to get both buses in, and I wanted to make sure that we got the top of the bus. You could see how huge it was, because it's crazy, right?
Yeah, well, first, let's say Marls is like Ferg, you're like almost 6 feet, 5'10". So like the bus is 10 feet tall. Like,
Yeah,
That's a
it's
double decker.
absolutely huge. Oh my god.
Why don't you smile? Jeez Louise.
Was this at Clutch Cargo's too?
It's the same show. This was
This was a
after,
couple nights
clearly.
ago.
And again, I need to take another picture in front of the bus. As you can see with the flash, but yeah, this is after the mosh pit. And I don't know what members only jacket that is I have on. I apologize. And I think that was my first attempt at Dave's short hair. But it was all messy. Just looked terrible.
God bless your hairdresser.
There must have been no cameras allowed in the venue.
Oh, back then that was a huge deal. Yeah, there was no cameras allowed.
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, I never had.
Oh boy, look at these kids!
Geez.
Look at these kids. So this is after the show. This is Ferg and Mike in the back seat of this tiny car as we take the 3-hour trek home after the concert. Amazing.
I don't think. Oh. Wow, my nose. I think I grew into my nose a little bit.
Look at this kid from the Jersey Shore. Look at him. Hey, forget about it.
And you know what? My necklace is like the Molson Canadian beer cap. I remember that was such a thing. Like, everyone loved it,
dude. So many of these are great. I haven't seen these in such a long time. This is really just insane.
Yeah, I just remember this. So this is like after the show.
This is on the way back. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I got what I got. See, so this is a like sort of a foreshadowing of my future. You can see, I think that's me holding that Crush bottle because I really wanted that orange Crush because it was like in a.
Are those your Adidas pants? I'm assuming those are your Adidas pants.
Those are that's the side of my shirt.
Oh, okay, right.
But then you can also see I got like a lemonade Snapple in the corner too. So I was never just get one juice. You have to get 3.
I just want to comment one more time on that show itself. Like after we met Dave, like we almost felt like we didn't need to see the show. We were just so mind blown. We were on the highest of highs, walking around Pontiac. We had hours and hours before the show to.
Yeah, what do you do now? I think I recall we could hear. I remember I could hear them sound checking. See you.
Yep. Yes.
Yes. Oh, dude.
Nice.
Yes. Forgot about that.
And actually going back to that, it's probably my least favorite song on the record.
See you's not bad.
They don't pull that one out very often these days.
Let's continue this journey here. Now, this is the Warehouse, which is in Toronto, July 7th. So, as you can see, this was days after, and this will continue a trend that we did where we literally, any date that was available around a 2-hour like time radius for where we lived, we literally went to it. And Ferg, was this the one, again, because your age, is this the one that you were almost not allowed to go to?
Yes. No, the next one. The
next one, yeah.
Well, this was on the Monday. The show in Pontiac was on the Saturday. So we're going Saturday. I think I remember getting dropped off Saturday. It was like 5 a.m.
But in back and forth, Dave talks about when they first started and they were playing shows on Mondays and Wednesdays and making like $500 a night. Yeah. This is exactly what he's talking about.
Yeah.
And it's just it's such an honor to be a part of this. And I always knew, even back then, I knew that this was really special. I never thought Foo Fighters would, not because of talent, but I never thought they would be as big as they are. But we'll get into the later shows.
Ferg, is that Nate's autograph?
Yeah, so I think basically since the start of that Melbourne show, we were like, hey, it seems pretty easy to meet, our idols. Let's just arrive a little early and see if we can find them. This is another example, Nate and Pat.
Yeah, you got Pat.
I remember that one. Do you remember, if this is the show I think it is, and Dave and Taylor were in a van and they drove away.
Yeah.
Right. And Pat was standing there. And this was the first time we were like really close with Pat. Because I don't think we got close to Pat again at the last show. So it was this one. He was just standing like on the driveway of the place, I remember.
Yeah.
Did you guys talk to him? Because I didn't go to this one. Did you say much other than like, hey, can you sign this? Like, because we sort of lost that opportunity in Pontiac. Right?
I remember being around Pat a lot there, but I don't remember what I said. Yeah. So I'm not sure if we said anything. He definitely signed all our tickets. 100%. Look at it. Look at this shot. So this is Arrow Hall again. Geez, why don't I have that on my wall?
I think this is Warehouse. That's the show. That's for July 7th, right?
Oh, is this the July 7th? Yeah. You guys are in charge of dates. This is the same show for right from that
Yeah,
ticket?
Yeah, this is the warehouse, I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Okay, it's warehouse. So my apologies. Yeah. Dave's White SG. I remember that was one of the first guitars when I was wanting to learn. I wanted that guitar. That was, to me, that was Dave's signature back in the day.
Yeah.
But there's old Taylor, and we got Nate on the far right. But I mean, this is like, look how far they've come. This is just a standard white curtain with nothing on it, but the lights have the Foo Fighters logo on it.
It's amazing. I don't even know what else to say.
Yeah.
And look, like cameras allowed in the venue. I remember I love the Explorer.
It's another great shot. These are all
so that's something
original.
Yeah,
What's that?
Something we definitely did was we'd arrive so early and then we'd be first at the door. So we would then go right to the front and we'd sit there the whole time on the railing and we'd always be front row.
Now we're going, we took a bit of a break. Ferg, I'm going to let you explain the dates because I'm bad at it. So
yeah, so there's one show in between here that a couple of you guys went to. This was the year of Foo for sure. There was a show at Arrow Hall. You just mentioned that venue.
Arrow Hall, right?
So there's two shows, one in Kitchener, one in Toronto, or Arrow Hall, or that's Mississauga. So Mississauga and Kitchener. And I just remember I didn't have a job at the time. Like I was only 16 or 15 or whatever. And my mom really wanted me to get a job. I had the money for the tickets, but she would not let me buy tickets until I had a job. And I just didn't have one yet when these went on sale. So all my friends bought tickets.
I remember.
And the funny about this particular show, that's my birthday. So that would have been my 16th birthday. And I was so devastated that I couldn't go. Like I took out a picture of a magazine, had a big full page cover in it that was advertising the show. And I like put it on my room door and like circled the date and highlighted it and teenage anger. And then,
should have put it on the fridge.
Yeah, exactly.
Rob, which show is that? I'm interested. That's good to know that you're our age. I don't feel so bad now. Probably people watching like, how old are these dudes? Okay, so this is the next one we all went to. This is the Lyric in Kitchener. Now the Lyric, I think, is long gone, I believe.
Yeah.
Now this was
That's a great little spot.
Dude, this was a great show. This was a Tuesday night. A Tuesday night, and God bless all of our parents for letting us go. Once again, just on a Tuesday. There's school tomorrow, and at least for those guys, not for me, but for those guys, there's a school tomorrow.
We're just going to Kitchener for the night. You're 16 years old.
I got to give props to Andy, our buddy Andy, because he had to pull out a night or two before this show. And that's how I ended up getting to go to the show. I then begged my mom, let me buy Andrew's ticket. But unfortunately for Andy, he couldn't go. So,
yeah, there was a lot of, one of our group would drop out and, someone else would kind of take their place. But none of us were ever mad at each other, which was great. It was kind of just like
things happen.
I remember it feeling like all for one for all. And whoever couldn't go be like, no, dude, you gotta go. Like, you gotta accomplish this. This is the outside of the Lyric. It's so tiny. Like Kitchener is a smaller town from about an hour and a half from where we live, and this looks just like an old movie theater. It might have been, for all I know.
Yeah, it totally reminds me of like the Capitol on Dundas.
But this is once again. Now we have this formula where we're going a few hours early because we've hit like 100% on meeting them, literally, right? So now it's like, okay, now we're planning. And I remember this one in particular, there was a time when we thought it's not going to happen. We were walking. Remember we were there way early. Our buddy Lyle here? Was Lyle at this one?
He might have been. Yeah.
I remember us circling the block regardless. I remember that there was kind of a grassy field in the back. And I remember us circling like, oh my God. And we're so like, we're getting a little upset. We're like, we're not going to be able to meet these guys.
Yeah.
Oh, but there's Dave. There's Dave in the back. And I remember this one was embarrassing. Oh, this is a good story. This was when I was trying to be a cool guy.
Yeah, you got to tell
this. Such a super fan.
Yeah. So we're screaming. There's a few other people. There's a couple girls, and then there's us here. And it wasn't big. It was maybe like 7 or 8 people. And Dave, I remember Dave, the same thing. He's like, okay, I'm coming. Just give me a second. I'm coming. So it comes right up to us here. and he's signing stuff. And look, he's grown his stuff back, cut his hair again. That's a great shot, by the way. I don't have that one.
Looking suave.
Yeah. That coat, actually, this day, they went to Much Music. I remember he wore the same coat for the interview. Him and Taylor. Yeah. So there we are. And it's so great. You know, it's such a small crowd. Obviously, you know, they're popular from Dave being in Nirvana, but they weren't huge. They just weren't, right? That's a great one, too. Look at the dumpy building right beside the lyric there. That's hilarious.
Probably still for sale.
And what the girls are holding here are just free. I don't want to call them magazines. They're just free papers that you could get, right?
Were they like flyers for the show? Like were they?
No, they're just like, you know, like
Now magazine.
You know,
oh man,
free. Yeah.
Now I think I got a stack of those.
Now that's right.
Now they gave them away at Sunrise.
Yeah. I still have it on the wall.
Oh,
in here.
Lisa knows her girl. Looks like the coat he's wearing. Yep, he loves that kind of coat. I don't know what kind of coat that's called.
I'm surprised.
But, that's the same coat from the intro Sonic Highways. Absolutely, same kind.
I love that shot too. That shot that you were just on, because you just see the awe in like the faces of those girls. Like,
so I believe the girls here are handing Dave Nirvana bootlegs.
Yes,
I believe that's what it was.
Yeah, he was shocked. He'd never seen that one before. He said.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I was doing that. Yeah, this is great. So, you know, because this is so calculated now, I got to be a cool guy. And this shot here, I can't remember who took it. I think Mike did. So this is like the big bodyguard in the back. But this is, I don't know, this is Dave talking to me specifically. This shot's been in every home I've ever had. And I'm going to hold this up here. So it wasn't just good enough for him to sign my ticket stub. It just wasn't good enough for him to sign the color and the shape. Oh, no. I had to be Mr. Cool Guy and bring my Everlong CD1 single. So that is Dave's signature there on my Everlong single, which is a prized possession. And then on the B side of this, we have a song called Requiem that they recorded. So what did I say? Okay, Dave, you guys going to play Requiem tonight? That's what I said to him in the, 15 seconds I had with him. He's like, oh, I don't know. He's like, our drummer doesn't really know that. I don't think we're going to play that one. I was trying to be Mr. Cool. I didn't want to be like, oh, play Monkey Wrench. I wanted to be Mr. Hipster. But
also in with that, it's like we really were, even from back in the Nirvana days, about collecting those rarities, those B-sides, so those singles. I mean, even back then, it's not like you went into an H&V and saw like 30 of them. Like you'd be lucky to find one scattered around, or you
know, great. I remember, a few bands like Oasis, for example. Oasis would bring out a CD single and just litter it with B-sides, like 2 or 3 on each one. They were just fantastic for that.
Yeah.
And Foo Fighters would usually do one single would be like a live version of Monkey Wrench, okay, whatever.
Sure.
But then the next single would have a B-side on it. They almost went every other. And I remember this one here. This is the My Hero single. And I remember we celebrated this. Most of these B-sides that were released, in this one being Baker Street by Jerry Rafferty.
Yeah, they do a great version of that.
Yeah, like just that one song that we hadn't heard before being a B-side, we would celebrate it all weekend. And that song would, the CD would stay on the CD player the whole weekend. And we would just loop it over and over and over again.
And then when we had enough to drink, it was like, let's go jam it. Let's go figure it out in the basement.
Absolutely. Christine says, my favorite album, I think, is Echoes. I listen to that a lot. Whole Situation is sad, of course. And Christine, you were there with us. You grew up with us.
That's right.
And you know whether you had a choice or not when you're hanging out with us, that Foo Fighters was all Foo Fighters, man. Like the whole time. And it's sad, man, when someone that you followed their whole career and all their music is suddenly taken from us. Let's continue with these slides here. Oh, Ferg, what are we looking at here?
Well, those little double drums here. First experience with the double drums. They started adding that to their show on this tour.
Yeah,
And this was the color and the shape. They started the color and the shape, or was it halfway through the song? Dave would go back
remember the
end.
opening song when the internet became a thing where you could find music. This song was the opening song. It was just called Drum Intro. It was a brand new song.
Yeah.
Remember? And we could never find it. It wasn't, but they would always play Color in the Shape with double drums.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, what this is. And I think that was somewhere down the line in the set.
Yeah. So intro opened with this then, I guess. And then.
Yeah, they would open with this and then Dave would
run back.
Yeah.
So I gotta ask, because I wasn't at that show. You're saying that Dave would play drums on the song Color in the Shape with Taylor.
Yes, with Taylor.
And he would sing?
Yeah.
No, he would do the outro. So
okay.
You know how it gets to the end there? Like before it goes to a breakdown?
Yeah.
So he'd jump off the guitar and he went back.
Oh,
and
yeah. Okay, yeah.
But going back to that, Joe, so they would open the show with both of them playing drums.
Yeah.
Did this drum intro ever become a song?
I'm sure we can find it now, dude. I'm sure we can find it now. Absolutely. With
like,
YouTube.
I wonder if it ended up being like a song on album 5. You know, like sometimes that happens.
And I wish I knew. Like, I remember Satan's in the Manger. That was a weird one that never became anything. I remember that this double drum song. I'm sure I would have known, or we would have known if it became something. It might have. I don't think it was. I think it was just a cool jam. I think it was just a cool jam they had. What show are we at here, Ferg? What are we at here?
The same. This is still the lyric. Is it not? Yeah.
This is Kitchener, yes.
Yeah,
this is Kitchener, yeah. So again, the lyric is very small. Very small.
It's amazing, though. It's just amazing to
to go through all this. Yeah.
I mean, I know that we'll get to that. Like, look at even like the size of Dave's toms compared to Taylor's. Like, there's a very different drum setup. Eh?
And I remember for me being such a fan of the Nirvana drums, it took a long time to warm up to Taylor. A long time. It's not that I didn't like him, but I was just like, he was so different from Dave, which now I realize is a really, really good thing. But back then it was like, well, I don't know, man, because William almost kind of emulated Dave, not quite as good. But Taylor was completely different. He was a hard hitter, but he's far more technical. It's just lightning, right?
Yeah.
Like, he added so much more.
Who's that guy? Who's that guy there? That's Franz Stahl. Wow, look at that.
From Scream.
Franz from Scream. I think Franz only recording is A320 from the Godzilla soundtrack, I believe.
I think you're right.
That is his only recording.
This is when Pat left. Too bad.
Pat is now gone, and enter Franz Stahl. Bless Franz. These are some great photos. I haven't seen these in years.
Edgefest. Wow.
Look at that, $30. Isn't that crazy?
That's insane. Edgefest 98. I think this was the one what was the one I didn't go to? I think it was this one. There was one I missed.
Is it this one or the Somersault?
No, I went to Somersault because that was
Somersault. Oh.
Yeah.
Somersault and Edgefest.
So for everyone in chat, thanks for everyone who's sticking around, and we're just scratching the surface here. We're going to take a 2-minute break. So if you guys want to grab yourself a beverage in chat, we're going to grab ourselves a beverage, and we shall return in 2 minutes. Don't forget to mute your mics, guys. Wow. Absolutely insane. That is one of many amazing Taylor Hawkins drum solos that I had to choose from for our commercial break. So he does the triplets that man, he does it like nobody else.
Yeah.
And it's great. The sign of a great drummer is when you can hear the difference in the drumming, not what they're doing being the triplets, but when you can hear the fact that, it's Dave, because the drums themselves just sound different from how he's hitting it. Taylor definitely had his own style for sure. So here we are. We're Molson Park Berry. I don't think I was at this one, dude. I don't think.
Really, eh?
Let's. Oh.
Oh no.
Is this it? What is this shot?
No, I think I got a different shot in there. That's another one of our limo
This is a
rides.
great one. So so we used to we loved our limos, man. I don't even know how that began. Like how we
for some reason, some show we decided to take, I think we do a wrestling event or did something like that where let's take a limo. There's 10 guys and we don't want to stay overnight and we'll just get a ride home. And it ended up being such a great experience that we forked out the money every time we went to concerts.
we had some shady limo drivers. That is Rob McCallum, yes.
Bobby Lou.
That's Rob, that's
Big
me,
Blue.
and that's Andrew in the back, and there's a very young, very handsome Ryan Ferguson. Yeah, that was good times in the limos, man. It's just absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Got here. Okay, so we're in line here. Which one is this again? This is
the Edge Fest one. Yeah.
Edge Fest.
It was a hot day. They played more midday that one.
I 100% was not at this show. No.
No.
So no, definitely not. Yeah, there's one I missed. It's this one. I would have remembered it's almost like the Everlong single kind of background a little bit.
Yeah. So there was a big lineup that day. It was always like a one-day event. I think the headliners were Green Day, Sloan, Creed, Tea Party.
I've never seen Green Day, so yep, it's this one.
Yeah.
That's amazing lineup, dude. Wow.
Yeah, it was wild.
Just powerhouse after powerhouse, right? Like
we were so surprised that the Foos were playing so early, like nowadays they'd close every show, but yeah. I think Creed was after them. Green Day was definitely after them.
So this was Edge Fest, Joe. I don't know if you went to this one or not.
I was not at this one.
No, yeah, but I love look at the backdrop. It's like the Everlong single. It's friggin' amazing looking.
The
great shots.
The summer shows in this time, like the one like kind of like say like the Canadian shows like Edge Fest and Somersault, they were epic. So when you're talking about Foo Fighters playing in the afternoon, it's like that's kind of weird, but it's not just Foo Fighters with a bunch of like local bands. Like don't get me wrong, like I love Sloan, Our Lady Peace, I Mother Earth. They would always play those, right? And like Foo Fighters,
Treble Charger, don't forget Treble Charger.
Treble Charger. Well, yeah, that's right. But I really miss that era,
Yeah,
and something I think just to talk, we're talking in general about how, how this shaped our lives, right? Like the music of our generation, right? And I think that I don't even think I could do it any justice. I'll just leave it at that to ponder.
Fair enough, my friend. We had, Ferg, a lot of, how shall we say, colorful limo drivers. A lot of shady limo drivers in the day, dude. Like, yeah, I mean,
you pay for that. It's like the added service.
Yeah.
Like,
I
do you
remember,
want the shiesty limo driver?
Well, I'm not going to name names. We all remember who this is, I believe. But I mean, he he loved to tell his rock stories. He told us, he saw Kiss and this band and that band and Crew and whatever. And I remember, was it this show, Ferg, that he took us to a private destination for himself, and he made us wait? He went to this residence to pick up, I'm pretty sure, which was drugs or whatever.
So this particular show, this is the first time we had this limo driver. We had another limo driver before. So this went over. This was in the U.S. Van Andel Arena. I can't remember where. in the U.S. It was somewhere in Michigan.
It was Michigan, yeah.
And that was our first time with him, and we actually got along pretty well with him on that one. He didn't really care what we did. We had a good time. We were loud. We could play music, and you could tell he was a little shady. But I mean,
I remember him driving.
Yeah.
I remember him driving with the backdrop down, and he was always looking back. Remember, we're like, dude, I think you better watch the road. And he would always drive really fast.
That's right. He would talk to us like,
"Hey guys, want me to go a little faster?"
I have one vivid memory of this. It's a little colorful, but
yeah.
We're driving down and we're having a few drinks in the limo, and we're on the highway, and a couple of us had to go to the washroom really, really bad.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Are you kidding me? No, I can't stop on the middle of the highway." It was like a full 5-lane. No, it wasn't a 5-lane, but it was definitely a 4-lane highway.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh man, I can't stop here, guys." But we're like, "You got to stop." So eventually he did. It was hilarious. We're on the side of the road.
and for him, and we'll get into Ferg, you can steer me with the shady business of him later. I thought it was the first one. No, it was Somersault. It was Somersault that he did his little shady business. But this is with the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and this brings us to There Is Nothing at All Left to Lose. Now this album is very, very special. This was basically, I mean, they didn't really have a tour for There's Nothing Left to Lose. It was just the tour with the Chili Peppers. They never really had a logo tour, but this is where they started dressing up, like Dave says, they look like Kraftwerk with the red shirts, the black ties, skinny ties, and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, like the Queen lighting.
The Queen Killers live record. Yeah, this album is so special to me. It came out in November 1999. It's one of my all-time favorite records because it's so simple. There's only 3 members in the band at this time. So they don't have a guitarist. So Dave plays all the guitar, and it's just Nate and Taylor.
Taylor's debut.
Yeah.
The big part.
Taylor plays, I think, 6 or 5, and Dave plays the other 6.
Yeah.
So he doesn't play all drums because he was pretty nervous. He was scared. And so he just did half the record. But this is Dave's first studio. This was recorded in Virginia. And like he says in Back and Forth, you can really hear that it was just a mellow record, whereas Color and the Shape, Gil Norton really wrote them hard, and Dave drove them into the ground touring. So Pat left. Franz didn't work out, and now here we are with There's Nothing Left to Lose. What do you guys remember about this record, specifically in the year 1999?
Well, I remember the lead single, Learn to Fly. And it came with a bang as well. And it had the video with Tenacious D at the beginning of it.
Oh, so
and it
incredible.
was just so great. And
still my all-time favorite video of all their videos.
Yeah, it's gotta be.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, you get Jack Black and Kyle Gass at the beginning of this shady,
good.
smuggling drugs, but they're the airport baggage guys or the cleaners or whatever. They put the narcotics in the coffee machine, and everyone gets high, except Foo Fighters, because they don't drink the coffee; they drink alcohol, which is
they had their Ryan
hilarious.
Fingers, or just rye or something.
They drink alcohol and they're fine, but everyone who drinks the coffee gets messed up.
Exactly. The irony of it, they're getting loaded, and
it's so great.
Yeah, and like Dave steers the plane to safety.
So we got Stacked Actors, which may or may not be about Courtney Love. It's neither here nor there. Breakout was a great one.
Drop C tuning they had, or was it drop C, Joe?
Drop C.
Drop A.
Is it drop A?
No, it's in standard tuning, but the E is tuned down to A so that you have that double A sound. Like it sounds like a piano.
I remember the few times we played it, and it was almost like the low E string was just flapping. It's like it was gonna you could pull it right off. It was so loose, right?
Yeah.
That song is incredible. Breakout is their first movie tie-in. This is one where we get what was it? Me, Myself, and Irene.
That's right. Great video too.
Yeah, and we kind of just accepted it. The movie clip stuff aside, it was another great story where Dave was kind of like a dual personalities. He had to take medication to stay on track. He loses his bottle of medication, so he becomes Rock Dave. He's Nerdy Dave at the beginning. It's just another great concept.
Yeah. I really, we won't get to what's your favorite record, but I agree with you. This is just, everyone's Color in the Shape is the best record. Okay. We know how that era really influenced us, but this album is such a solid album.
Yeah. When you look at it, top to bottom. Yeah.
Top to bottom. I feel like it has picking at a couple of the weaker ones that maybe we don't like as much in Color in the Shape. I feel like this, there's one, and I won't say it. There's one in this list that I could have done without, but it's honestly still a really good song. It just feels like it kind of breaks up the album a bit.
Well, I want to know which one you're talking about.
Okay, next year.
Oh, next year, yeah.
I love it, but it's kind of like a throw-in, like after Living Skin, which rocks.
It's funny too because I think that is one of their weakest videos too. Next year, where they're the astronauts.
Funny.
It's not one of my favorites, but I think putting on this record, you could definitely hear where they are in their career. How it's just Dave steps back. He's like, okay, you know what? We're gonna do this ourselves because that last record we almost killed ourselves. And you can really hear that even in something as heavy as Stacked Actors. You can hear it's heavy, but it's mellow. It's hard to explain.
I feel like you're talking about when we tried to play that one, like tuning the string is flapping. I think that it's understated how complicated of a performance that is. This song to play and to sing, and like the drums are kind of doing something very subtle, but they're there.
Yeah.
I remember really Stacked Actors.
Oh, Stacked Actors.
I just feel like it kind of bounces around in that in the chorus, and it's if you don't nail it, it falls apart real quick. But
there's that you need the delay, of course, right? You need the delay pedal, and it's got to be on time. Chris,
it needs to be right, Chris. I remember I remember loving their performance of it on SNL, and just thinking, Chris, like turn your regen knob a little bit more to the left. It's not going bam, whatever.
There's a lot of great songs. I agree with you guys. Every one of these is incredible. Headwires has one of my favorite lyrics of all time, which is better than a bullet being fired, tangled in your head wires. That lyric is always stuck with me all these years. I think it's just beautiful. And MIA, you guys know I love MIA. MIA is, they rarely played it. There's a few clips out there of them playing it. I assume it's hard to play and sing.
It is vocally challenging. I remember us trying it a couple times. I love the riff. I love the D to the G. Like it's so simple.
Yeah, totally. And I think Aurora's a total masterpiece right in the middle of that record. Like a song that I can't believe wasn't put out as a single or super successful or a go-to song for them still to play.
I remember hearing that song. I'm trying to remember the movie. But it was like those late 90s, like teen movies. It had the guy from American Pie, the main guy.
Of course it did. Of course
and
it
did.
had
the girl that was like the musical chick in American Pie.
Oh, the band camp girl or whatever?
Yeah. No,
Buffy?
no. The one that they called the choir girl, Pris. Anyway, I remember like it shocked me that they used Aurora in the middle, like in a scene of that movie. And that I think this record was the one that influenced me a lot on the guitar.
So real quick,
songwriting.
Real quick, Ferg, favorite song?
I'd actually say "Ain't It the Life." I know I'm in the minority. I know a lot of people don't like that song, but
I agree. Ain't It the Life. Yep, it is so
beautiful.
Sweet.
And I'm going MIA on this one. That's awesome.
Nice.
Let us continue. So Van Andel Arena. I'm trying to remember what part of Michigan this is. It's going to bug me now. Regardless, here we are with Foo Fighters opening for the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Now, I got to tell you guys, there are some banger photos in this. So let us continue.
Wow.
Hey, white limo, right?
White limo right there.
There it is.
Yeah, foreshadowing.
I'd like to give credit for the white limo song. It's all because of us that song was wrote. So this is us, a bunch of delinquents on another probably Tuesday or Wednesday, renting a limo with money we didn't have from part-time jobs, working at Pizza Hut, etc. But this is just some of the best times of our lives. A bunch of our close friends here, Kristen, Kelly, Andrew, and we got old Chibs there. We got old
Chibs.
Chops crouching down. Ferg on the far left, Mike on the far right.
I love the late '90s like Du Maurier pack.
Yeah, we're gonna pack some cigarettes on the ground there.
It's great to see the Queen Live Killers lights like in photos because it's been such a long time since I've seen. Yeah, this is when, you know, they were starting to get you couldn't really get super close as easily anymore. I remember.
See, Chad doesn't look like he's hesitating to drink from that bottle of Crown.
A big bottle of Crown, yeah.
This is a great story. So that is Chad Smith, the drummer for the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and they of course were playing after Foo, and Dave and the band are notorious for drinking Crown. So Dave calls Chad out on the stage and say, "Hey man, drink some Crown with me." And Chad, I remember, says, "Oh, you know, we got to play." And Dave says something derogatory towards him. It's like, "Oh, don't be like that. Just chug it, man." It was amazing. And you can see Chad is a little nervous here. But Dave's just like, "Just drink it, man. I've already drank like 5 shots. So get going." But that is a great photo. I don't know who took that.
I can say
I don't remember.
Pretty impressed. You know, you're saying you can't get really close. I mean, like we were so spoiled at that Clutch Cargo's. You know,
but I mean, the venues were getting bigger and the crowds were getting tighter, and it was so you couldn't just walk up to the front anymore.
Yeah, a little bit more ambitious to get up there for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. This old Dave again. That's a great one.
Is that the guy from American Pie in front of you with that? Right there.
There's Dave on drums. There's Taylor. I can't remember. So what's Taylor gonna sing here? What is that?
Have a cigar.
Have a cigar.
Yes.
Right on.
Wow. That's pretty crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. One of my the next picture is not one of my ultimate ones, but like so disappointed that this next picture didn't come out clear because it's a great shot.
There's got to be
one
some
job.
sort of
you had one job, whoever you are that took this picture.
I'm sure we
can back of someone's head.
Now with the new technology, there's probably some kind of filter that we could like clarify that.
Yeah, totally.
Probably, yeah.
Looks like something that like that Nirvana would have shot back in the Bleach era.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
Somersault 2000. For anyone who does not know, Somersault was Our Lady Peace festival that they created, and Foo Fighters were not headlining. Obviously, it was Our Lady Peace that was the finisher, I believe. Or was it Smashing Pumpkins?
It was the Smashing Pumpkins, and they were on their retirement tour.
Their first retirement tour.
For real, that was it. That was the end of their as a band at the time. They were gonna.
Oh, I thought you meant like Billy Corgan was like done making music. I'm like, dude, he's like.
No, but at the time it was tagged as that he was.
Do you remember? Was that Ava Adore? For Smashing Pumpkins, and I think that you're right, but I think that they legitimately actually did take a break, and you know they had their falls, their short falls and stuff, and I think then their next album came out in 2007, which was called Zeitgeist, so I think that was a hiatus, like it wasn't with Jimmy Chamberlain on the drums and Darcy was
gone.
Yeah, Optimar was doing her own thing by that point.
So there's also the other bands here. I'm just looking at it now. Catherine Wheel, Eve 6, Sum 41.
Oh man, what a lineup!
Wheel.
And that's a young Sum 41 back then, 2000.
Yeah, baby.
Treble Charger, Finger 11. I'm on Earth.
Were they filming American Pie too, like at the same time?
And then another huge one for that day was A Perfect Circle. So Maynard's side project.
Yeah, so you got to see A Perfect Circle, like, and people are like, who's that?
Yeah,
this is our first appearance of Chris. We got Chris on the far left there. He's in the band now.
Look at those Vox amps.
The Vox amps are great. And you know what's amazing is that I love the font with the bright yellow. It's like Super Mario 3 all the way. I just love how amazing that looks. No frills, just here's a banner, FF. It's so great. And this was what started. You'll notice a theme here where I'm obsessed with Dave's wardrobe. This starts my obsession with the 3/4 Ferg, you remember? Because he wore it here. I don't even remember what it says on his shirt. We might be able to get closer here. But Dave has a 1970s style 3/4 rock shirt on.
Is it a Motorhead shirt?
Oh yeah.
Is it Motorhead?
It's like a Motorhead shirt. I don't know if it actually is Motorhead one.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is on the side. I can't tell.
Quick, zoom in.
But look at that shot. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Rob took these photos.
Rob took all these. Yeah, these were
Rob
great
took all the
shots.
ones when Dave runs out to the catwalk. Yeah.
Rob was like on the
Look at
fence
that.
here.
Oh wow.
Look at that shot.
Yeah.
Look at our boy. Look at your boy.
Bobby Lou.
Could have
Going
touched
here.
his neck.
He looks so much like Luke Skywalker. I'm telling you. Look at this. This is great. The one I have in my house, there's one coming up that's just, it was my favorite of this bunch. Look at that shot. Oh, it's the white SG again.
Yeah.
The old point. These are great.
You almost
There it
don't
is.
get
That's
that.
the one.
You don't get an idea how many people are there with the way the photos are taken. But like this is probably several thousands of people.
Oh, it's
outdoor,
like
right?
30,000 people.
Yeah, it's tens of
Well, yeah,
thousands.
if you look in the center of the picture, there's a gap, and you can see
Yeah.
that's all just hands, right?
Yeah.
Like it's just
And
a
then
sea of people.
The trees are like a kilometer back at least, right?
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
These were big shows.
That's a fantastic shot. That's it. And that's the end of the first set of slides.
Nice.
So that's incredible.
Beautiful.
Man. Where are we here? Oh boy. Yeah. So before we get into that, let's change over. Changing of the guard a bit. Oh, thanks, Rob. Rob says wicked photos, and thanks for sharing. Thanks for sticking around with us, man. I really do appreciate it. I feel like we're doing a history lesson at the same time. All right,
Yeah.
students. Now in 2002.
Does anybody remember this?
This record has got a really interesting backstory. Who wants to take it on?
You,
yeah.
So this one
You can
was
pull in
recorded
Taylor
at
into
a
this a little bit.
time when Taylor was struggling with his own demons. At the same time, everyone was at each other's throats. Dave was doing drums for Queens of the Stone Age. And everyone was just kind of sick of Foo Fighters, or everyone was sick of being in the Foo Fighters, and none of them really cared if the band continued or not. So that's what this record is. So the original recordings are something affectionately known as the $1 Million demos because they cost $1 million and they sounded like crap. They're terrible. But I kind of disagree with what Dave says because I think some of those are really great.
I think they're
I
excellent.
think what Comeback's the one where he screams, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that one's sick. Yeah.
So good.
The original. So they kind of took a little bit of a break. Dave played with Queens, toured with them for a while. Then they regrouped. All was good after they did Coachella. And here we are. They re-recorded this record, I think in a week or 2 weeks. It was very fast. And we have
In Virginia too, I think.
this one, I think, is one of the weakest in terms of record quality. I don't think the songs are weak, but I think it's a very weak sounding record. What do you guys think?
Can you put the
I
songs up?
agree. Yeah. I think we were so excited. That $1 Million Demos record was this close to being released. So close that early on in the internet days, Yahoo had clips of about 10 seconds of each track of the record on a loop that we found. And it was like basically a promotional new Foo Fighters record coming out. You get a little sneak peek. Well, they totally shelved that. And we were so excited because we'd heard bits of these songs. And then when this album came out and we listened to it, it was nothing like what we had heard already, you know?
I wonder, you know, it's a matter of taste and opinion to say if the record would shelve because maybe they thought the performance wasn't good or the recording sounded like crap. But I think that it's probably fair to say that a lot of what may have, you know, maybe Dave wasn't thinking straight. There's a lot of other stress going on. You know, this was when Taylor was actually, I think previous to this is when he was hospitalized for several months in a coma. And I think that tension may have just made Dave do like, I'm just putting this on the shelf. You just like, you know,
yeah.
Because I agree. I really like some of the songs on this of the
like
$1 Million Demo.
the lonely. Sorry, I forget the name of it now. Lonely as You. which they now call, it was still called Lonely As You, but man, it hit so hard on that original demo. I was so excited for that song.
The screen.
And then when I turned this on the first time I listened to it, I'm like, what the? Even though I still do like
one of my least favorite Foo Fighters songs that's on a record, by the way, is this album version of Lonely As You. I really liked it when it first came out, but anyway. And so I think there's just a lot of bad vibes during that argumentative period with the band. And I think Dave was kind of just like, this is just what I'm guessing, that the songs aren't bad, but let's just take what we already did because it has bad mojo or bad vibes and just do it again.
Yeah.
Just do it again.
And I think, but I would also say, like, reiterate, emphasizing what you said before about the songs are good, but it doesn't have that punch that the other records have. And so so you could say, was it the recording that wasn't that great, or was maybe the songs were not? So like, and I think in the back and forth documentary, Dave mentions how when they regroup after Coachella, I got this new song called Times Like These. I'm trying to picture this album without Times Like These. And where does it stand up,
Well, you have, and it's interesting you say that, and I agree with you, Joe. But that being said, you have two of the biggest Foo Fighter songs to date, which every tour they play All My Life.
That's right.
Every tour they play Times Like These. Every single show.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
And I love those songs. I really do.
Yeah.
And at the time when this was released, Dave said that was his favorite song he ever written. I remember Times Like These.
And
Times Like These, like you said in the doc, is about, should I stay or should I go? Like, do I leave this band behind and join something new? Or it's a beautiful song. It's still, I think it's my second favorite song, but I love Times Like These stripped down more. I'm not a huge fan of the rock one as much anymore, but All My Life is, every time you hear All My Life, it's incredible.
Yeah.
That song is a banger. And like Chris says, no matter what, if the crowd's not as lively as maybe they should be, as soon as they get to All My Life, that changes like that.
Yeah.
And the crowd goes insane.
I think, maybe I'm just, coming up with an excuse to continue on in a one-by-one discussion at another time, but I've never really listened to both versions back to back. Like, I know I've listened to the All My Life $1 Million Demo and be like, I like it. I think I like the one that was released better for that song.
Yeah, I remember I haven't listened to All My Life, the $1 Million Demo one, in a while. I remember it's pretty similar, but it's dirtier. I don't think Taylor did the ride bell.
Yeah.
And
I think
which really accents the song. It's amazing
time.
what he does there.
I think that some of the parts are a little longer too. So like from a production standpoint, you'd be like, this is good. You should have done that 10 seconds, not 20 seconds, because especially in some of the instrumental sections of the song, like it kind of makes you like lose focus, because I really like Dave singing in this one. Like his sort of, it is so raw. Like the guitar sounds so dirty,
And the lyrics in There's Nothing Left to Lose start to have a lot more meaning. But this record is when it was like, this is the Dave that we know now, with the great, just the poetry that he does in his songs. This is the record I remember being like, like the Times Like These, All My Life. Well, maybe not All My Life. That's a different story. What about Low? Low is great. A band video on MTV with Dave and Jack Black.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Trailer park guys, trucker guys, just having a good old time in a hotel room. Remember, it was banned. They would not play it.
I forgot.
It's pretty risque.
One song that like I said, I love All My Life and Times Like These, but Disenchanted Lullaby is so good.
You like that one?
I like the way, like the very sort of Beatlesque changes in those chords when he's in the verse. Like I really like.
I think the best song on the record is "Tired of You." It's terrible.
That's the one that's like,
it's a terrible song.
When you get to Tired of You, it's like, do I still want to keep listening to this CD? It's like, oh, right.
Right in the middle of it.
Okay, favorite song on the record, Ferg?
Oh, geez. That's a tough one. I really like playing Have It All, like playing it musically. I like Come Back. I like the original Comeback better.
Yeah.
I don't know, this album's not on the top of any of my lists.
Halo's an underrated
Halo,
one too.
yeah.
But Foo Fighters usually have a real epic banger to end this one, and Comeback tries to do that, but I think it fails to achieve it. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, the original one was a full-on banger. We'd had
Like
all the
New Way Home,
live bootlegs.
MIA, Exhausted. Those are all great enders, but Comeback, no, not so much. So what'd you pick?
Do I have to pick? No, I'm just kidding.
You have to pick one.
Well, the best song on the record is probably Times Like These.
Joe, your favorite song on this record?
I'm gonna say Times Like These as well.
And that's 3 for Times Like These.
I would say the fact that we can come to that conclusion without like, oh, which song? Like this is the one record where you don't have that issue. It's like there's a couple that really stand out, right? So,
but that specifically since the pandemic has happened, and when Foo did their first show back June of 2021 at the Gardens in New York, the way they open the show now with Times Like These, where it's just Rami playing that single note, and Dave just sings with no guitar, it's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, they did it on they did it on SNL. It was
to awesome. See the transformation of that song and what it was into what it's become. Like it's had so many versions. Like then there was the acoustic one. Remember the video with just Dave in the studio? That was great too. Yeah. But it's transformed so much. So yeah, I totally agree. Where are we? The Opera House. Oh, we need a backstory on this one, Ferg.
So the internet again was 2002. So it's been around, but the Foo Fighters website, if you followed the Foo Fighters website, they were really good at the time. But the more I was in school, in college there, and I checked the Foo Fighters website as I did every day. And it was like special announcement coming up at noon or something like that. And I was like, oh, I wonder what that's all about. So I went back on at noon, and it was a surprise. Hey, we're playing a show in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, Opera House. Tickets go on sale in an hour.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? Are you kidding me? And
insane.
What's the backstory to that? Was there a reason that they were in Toronto, or was it just like, were they on tour already and they just needed to add a date?
This really was pretty close to the second I believe. The Intimate Interactive that they did at Much Music.
Because if you know the Opera House, I mean, it's definitely the smallest venue I've seen them in. It is super small. Yeah. So it's got to be under
300 people. Yeah, like I think like under 5. It's like Rum Runners in London.
Yeah, yeah.
Small.
So it was such a like, oh my gosh, this is going on sale. And I think it had signed up for something. And anyways, I got the passcode. I started calling I started calling Jay. I called Mikey, called Andy. And you could only get 4 tickets. So that was my 4 right away. And so I got them, put them on a credit card, and holy crap, we were going to see the Foo Fighters at the Opera House.
It's some kind of like last minute. I always call this one the secret show. Because
yeah, it was a secret show.
It wasn't like the Molson beer secret shows where you would win and you would go and show up at a club. You didn't know what the band was, but secret as in it was very last minute where the tickets weren't on sale for months ahead of time. It was literally like, here you go. We have like 500 tickets.
You are only a fan of the Foo Fighters at this show because you had to have been on their website at that exact moment and that morning to know that was happening.
That's a great shot of Taylor.
There's a beautiful shot of Taylor and Dave looking at each other. Yeah, this is the Opera House, and literally the stage was, I think, a riser. Like Dave is literally on the floor.
Going back to where we started this story, this is like the stage that Buzz was on at the embassy.
Yeah,
it was.
It's not much bigger.
Yeah,
it's not much bigger.
It's insane. Now, this shot was taken from our friend Kelly, and this is 100% the opening song, which was Aurora. And it was so great because Dave is looking right into the camera. This is actually framed in my kitchen still, this photo. It's just beautiful. And Joe, what guitar is that? Dave's clear one?
I forget the name of the guy. It's an MPEG. It's an MPEG,
Yeah.
and I forget. It's someone Armstrong, I believe. I feel so stupid not to remember. Great guitar, lucite body. Plays awesome. Plays
This
awesome,
was
by the way.
Dave's 1x1 era guitar for sure. He played this the whole time, and this is one of the first times where I'm a drummer, right? So I didn't really, I didn't pay attention to the guitar as much, but I remember this one because it was so completely different from the standard guitar. That photo is just incredible. I think that's one of the best photos that we have.
Wasn't he
this
like
whole collection?
Wasn't he like singing?
Photos.
Wasn't he like singing and like staring into the camera for like the whole intro of Aurora, like well into like the chorus, basically? Like,
it was
just
pretty
giving you
cool.
that, like a minute of his focus. Like it's a
He
pretty,
was, yeah. I mean, this is how close we were. I'm like, she's pretty much as close as you can get. Her feet are probably touching the edge of the stage there, right? And keep in mind, I believe, was this a disposable still, or did we have digital by then?
There was no digital then yet. No.
Okay, this is still
2002,
disposable. Okay,
it would have been a real. It wouldn't have been disposable, but
we would have had to put film in this camera and reuse the camera.
Yeah. So just an incredible shot. Another great one. Again, I call it a secret show because there's no real fluff. I don't think there was there banners for this one?
No, and it's awesome. It was just Foo Fighters fans. Like, you had to have literally.
Did they have an opener?
No.
Do you remember? It was just Foo Fighters went on stage and played for a couple hours.
Yeah. That was it. It was unbelievable.
Look at that shot. Oh, just insane.
That's a great shot.
The burns. Remember, I tried to grow them burns
Don't
before I had
bring that
facial
back.
hair. So embarrassing. There's a great one. Yeah. Look at Nate. Look at Nate getting down.
Yeah. Crazy. Like, we're on the stage with him. We're at the
It's insane.
the same level. You're right.
And this was, I mean, they weren't a small band anymore.
No.
Right. They're getting up there a lot. Like All My Life, that video really, really pushed them forward.
They're a certified platinum band now.
Yeah.
And so 5 years after Clutch Cargo, you're still seeing them at eye level like that. It's pretty awesome.
Kobo, the famous Kiss Arena. What year are we at? 2003. So we're still doing 1x1. Another great. This was another limo trip, right? If I remember correctly.
That sounds right. I don't have any pictures.
It's starting to get fuzzy now. I gotta admit, it starts to get foggy now. We weren't all like we were still together for a while, but as we see when we go on, we didn't all go to shows together shortly after this. But this was, I believe we took limos just because to be quite honest, we wanted to have some drinks and you know, and we didn't think it was fair that someone had to drive and quote unquote have no fun.
Well, and it would give us the ability to not have to rent a hotel for the night or a couple hotels because there'd be a bunch of us going.
Yes, spend the money on the limo instead of all the hotels.
And just come back home. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's my OCD is driving me crazy. Like when you say like, well, why is one convenience charge $6.95 and the other one is $7? Why is one ticket $27.50 and $129?
Oh, yeah.
One is a general admission, one's for the floor, right? So.
Oh yeah, right. There you go.
I think.
There you go. Oh, look at this! Look at this 1x1 set. Oh,
unbelievable!
Beautiful shot. Taylor's got a drum riser now with lights. It's just fantastic. One of my least favorite Dave haircuts with the short hair. Actually, the shaved head was the worst one. But
oh gosh,
yeah. It's great, man.
It's a nice Gretsch.
Man, I like that one, even though it's out of focus. That's like,
Yeah, that's like Charles Peterson shot it. From the guy that did all the Sub Pop stuff.
Someone's being pushed or someone's jumping up and down at the same time they're taking the photo.
Yeah,
for sure.
This is my first time seeing these ones. They're great.
These are great, and I haven't seen these forever.
These black and whites would look awesome, like in a series on the wall.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, Ferg, take her away.
Okay, so me and Mike, you're traveling in Australia, 2005, and Foo Fighters are getting ready soon to release In Your Honor. I remember both of us heard Best of You for the first time while we were there on the radio, and those were a couple of our good pals, Jamie on the left and Tom on the right, and then a couple of their friends as well, people. But yeah, so Best of You became a big part of our our backpacking trip because the internet was out there. We still had Kazaa or whatever was on at the time, so we were able to download it onto an MP3 player. So we play the heck out of it on our little speakers in our hostels. And then at one point, we're about halfway up the coast, and we find out that the Foo Fighters are coming to Australia to do a free show down in Sydney. So we were about halfway up the coast. So we had probably a week and a half to make our way down to the coast to try to get to go see a free Foo Fighter show. And this was the one. And it was before In Your Honor came out. But so they premiered a few songs, and a couple of the songs were the first time they ever played them. So it was pretty amazing.
Amazing.
Quite a memory. This is us playing. We're at their mixing board there at the sound booth at the back, just playing cards during the day.
What?
We were waiting. I know, it was crazy. We were there all day, right? Like,
yeah, were you mixing like Taylor's toms and like, okay, that sounds about right.
Just sitting out in the hot sun of Australia and just enjoying our time and until they came on. Yeah,
I gotta say, I'm a big fashion dude. This was one of your best haircuts. I love this look that you had. You could always do the Oasis thing that I could never do. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Let's continue. Look at it. Look at this.
Oh my God.
Look at this shot, man.
You're just playing on the street.
It's crazy. It was in the parking lot of, Channel V, which is like their version of Much Music. And yeah, they're just playing a free show. So they came out and did sound checks, and it was actually live to air. It was kind of like an intimate and interactive, our version, except without as much of there was interview and stuff, but they played like a full show. So they came out and did, How
many people
awesome.
you think, Ferg?
They got quite a few people out there, actually. It was
Under 1,000?
Thousands, so probably 5,000 or a few thousand.
Wow, this is amazing.
Like Australians love the Foo Fighters. So.
Yeah. Was it a strictly exclusive Foo event, or did
just Foo.
Was no opener. Okay.
No, just Foo. Live show, free show outside.
Amazing.
And you can find it online still. It's still out there.
This is the big one, eh?
So this, leads us to 2005, which Foo does something they haven't done before. They put out a double record. There was a very brief tour for the rock side. The acoustic side eventually became the Skin and Bones tour, but the rock side of this record, I feel, is the most underrated Foo record. I really, really do.
I agree.
Let's look at
this list of bangers.
Track listings here. So let's look at disc 1, which is the rock side. So we have In Your Honor, which is an incredible song. No Way Back is insane. Best of You is insane. DOA. Look at every song on that first side is insane.
Yeah, they almost take like a little bit, like when they like even Hell, the last song, Free Me, like there's like kind of like that little chunk, those 3 songs that kind of break up like this big opener, and then 5, 6, and 7 are still awesome, but they almost do just bring it down a little bit, and then
they do,
and then the last 3 are just boom, boom, boom again. Yeah, I arguably.
You want to talk about the amazing drumming of Taylor. This is the record where I was finally 100% okay. He's not Dave, and I'm okay with it. In Your Honor, the drumming in Your Honor, and especially DOA. If you're a fan of helicopter hi-hats, DOA is insane. It's almost on par with Everlong for how crazy it is.
Yep.
It's really, really great. And my favorite end song, I love all the epic end songs that Foo Fighters always have on the records. End Over End is still my favorite.
Yeah, I'm up there with you.
Still my favorite.
I'm up there with you on that for sure.
Yep. And it was also my first song that I ever crowd surfed to. And I never wanted to do it because I never wanted to get hurt. And I always thought it was kind of weird. This song played, and I was standing with my girlfriend at the time, and I said, help me. And she just boosted me up, man. I just went. It was like an instinct. It was so amazing. I was at amphitheater, I think.
Yeah. I'd go with saying it's one of the best first songs. As well.
In Your Honor is insane. Yeah. Just the message of that song, and it's all about the fans. That song is about us. In Your Honor, I Would Die Tonight. I remember and watching the Hyde Park show, which is a legendary show that they released on DVD, opening with that song, it is so incredible.
Oh, I love the drums too. Oh, they're so good.
The drums are fantastic. Taylor's drums are so great.
It's such a wake up track. It's like we're, like the it's like if you look at all the albums, they have, I would definitely say from here, well, even All My Life, right? But they really start to build that trend where like that first song out of the box needs to like smash you in the face. And I remember the first time I heard this song, Jay had already had the record, and he's like, "Do you want to hear it?" So like we did what we did back in the day, like he like turned his stereo on and like let me listen on his phone.
Yeah, dude.
and I just remember being in shock of just the hugeness of it. It was just like holy, and that was over the phone, right? So yeah, incredible.
I believe this was one of the first ones that we got early online. If I remember correctly, this was leaked a week before online, and this was one of the first times. And I'm okay with saying that because obviously we all bought this record, but it was just we were so thirsty for it, right? I remember
think it's awesome that you have the LP behind you. You have the actual LP, not just the CD. It's behind you. I'm just saying, I'm noticing it.
Yeah.
No.
Well, we're talking about our favorite records. I mean, that's pretty obvious on my end here, but now let's move to actually, Ferg, where are we going with these slides here? Are we into Skin and Bones yet, or?
So this is in your honor. So this is at the
In Your Honor Rock
Theater. Yeah.
So this is again in Toronto. This was the rock side of the tour. Okay. So before we get to this moment, which is still the greatest moment of my entire life, let me explain what this is. This is a record store in Toronto called HMV. And they had, I think it was a very small amount of tickets, I believe, and my memory is probably way off. I believe it was 100 or 200 tickets. It was like small. So our friend Mike, who is the blondes in front of me there, we went to stay with our buddy Rob, who lived in a suburb of Toronto. And we got up, we spent the night outside on the sidewalk in front of this store to get wristbands to be one of the 100 or 200 people. And what this was an actual meet and greet. It was the launch of In Your Honor, the record, but you could also meet Foo Fighters. So Chris, Nate, Taylor, and Dave, and they were sitting at a table in the store. So you can walk up to them, get your stuff signed, and that's what this is. So this is the greatest moment in my life, 100%. So this is us going up to the table. And this isn't everything that I've ever published. This was Dave and I. You're not supposed to have any photos. This is a great story here. So I go to Taylor and Dave and, just make a little bit of small talk. And I said, dude, can I please have a photo with you? There was signs everywhere. No photos. And Dave's like, yeah, man. And so he comes down off the riser and we go head to head here. And my girlfriend at the time takes the picture. And I remember the bodyguard comes up and he gets really mad. He's like, no photos. And I'm not going to swear on this broadcast, but Dave basically said, F off, get out of our face. And the guard just backed right down because you weren't supposed to take any photos with them. So this year, if this has been on my Facebook profile, it's in my house. I mean, it's insane. And this is us. There's Big Robbie, Big Blue there.
Big Blue.
And he's hanging out. This is his place. So this was before or after meeting Dave there. I think it might have been before. Having a few beers there.
Are those Labatt Blue cans?
Probably. Probably, yeah. So there we are. That's what Mikey smoked. Look at this chain wallet. And he's got his Kurt Cobain Converse 1 stars.
I miss those shoes. I had them too.
Great stuff.
There's a good shot of Taylor.
That is great.
Yeah. I don't want to. I know you got the picture with Dave. Did you have that other photo too? Don't you? I don't know if it's in this stack of photos.
It's actually not, and that was from 2006.
Oh, okay. I thought that was the same time. Sorry.
No, that was 1 year later at the Edge radio station. And you know what? You know what I regret about that, Joe, is that it was Dave, Taylor, and Drew, the percussionists of the tour.
Oh,
and it was my chance to meet Drew. And I remember, you weren't supposed to take photos. I got a photo with Taylor and Dave, and then consequently after, they threw me out of the Edge radio station. They kicked me out, but that's fine because I got those photos, and I'd rather have that, I guess. I don't know. Those last forever. Look at this. There's the In Your Honor banner, which I love. The FF,
yeah,
shield crest. It's a really great logo that they had at the time. I forgot about the Tetris screens. Was that just the venue, or was that their thing?
I think that was their thing.
Yeah.
I set up. I've set those things up for shows.
Yeah.
Like I was a stagehand a couple times at one of the London Music Hall, and I'm telling you, those things, it takes all day to put those together, and then to lift them, it was insane.
Matt says, "Hey guys, I'm at a birthday party in Burlington. Just wanted to say the best live Taylor Hawkins moment I ever experienced was when the curtain dropped at Arrow Hall. Yeah, they used to have the curtain with all the lyrics on it. They would play All My Life, and then when the band kicked in, the curtain
That's
would
right.
drop.
That's
so
right.
great, man. So great.
I think that's on there.
Thanks, Rob. Appreciate
Actually,
that.
wait a minute. Just to back up for a second. Isn't that the show that the DVD where it was filmed? The Toronto show?
Yep. Everywhere But Home is the Arrow Hall show.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. Oh, and there's no more double drums, but we got Dave on Taylor's kit, which I always remember we chuckled because Taylor's toms were so tiny compared to Dave's. But even now, Dave doesn't play those big.
Dave's like, wow, it's so much easier to play my drums this way. I think I'm going to switch my kit up.
Yeah, it's like, I don't need those big John Bonham toms. I can actually.
Look how fast I can do these triplets now. And then I'm not reaching across the room. Acoustic tour. Awesome.
We are into Skin and Bones. Before we continue, we're going to take another small 2-minute break, and we're going to actually, this one I think will be 2-minute break. We're going to listen to some Taylor's drum solo here while we get a drink and go to the washroom. So we will be right back, guys. So go grab a drink and stick around with us. That is one heck of a clip. And Damn, man, I'm gonna really miss those drum solos. We are back.
Yeah.
Our journey continues. Thanks to everyone who's sticking around, and thanks to Aaron. What's up, buddy? How you doing? What you got going on here? Yes, he's great. Look at your drums.
Yeah, nice kit, man. Jeez.
Dude, that's like a ship. It's like you have to get lowered into it. That's crazy. It's quite impressive.
Yeah.
So where are we here? Now we are on the acoustic tour. So this is the Skin and Bones stuff. Great stuff.
Yeah, I don't think I had too many photos of that one, or any actually.
Yeah. I probably do, but they're just they're packed away. This is the return of Pat. Maybe.
Oh yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, it would be.
Yeah.
Did you go to this one? I can't remember if we.
Oh yeah. Actually,
Rob
was with me, and we got I got one of the Skin and Bones set lists. I can't remember whose it is. I think it's Pat's or Chris's. Rob got for me. Nice. Yeah, because he had seats in the back, and that wasn't good enough, right? So he went up front. I remember because it was all seating, and he just kind of took a seat. I remember he got like front row.
That's right,
as McCallum does, right? I mean, he's
always
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I went to this with my cousin. That's why. Like, I think we hung out, and then we had separate seats for this one.
Right.
And then Rusty went.
Oh, there's a picture for you. So this was the Edge story I was telling you about. So this is 2006. That's me with Taylor at the radio station. This was they did signings. So he's actually, that's cool. Look at that. We're both holding the CD sleeve.
Oh my gosh,
pretty
amazing.
Cool, man. That's pretty cool.
And did you have that picture before?
I didn't, man. Before I forgot all about, because this was actually from obviously the Edge website.
Yeah,
I forgot about this photo, man. Yeah, this was before I got kicked out. Clearly, 2006 with Dylan at the Labatt Center. Yep, I was there as well. Bob Dylan opened, or sorry, Foo Fighters opened for Bob Dylan. Oops, a little mistake there.
That was a great show.
It was. Absolutely.
I actually, a little story about that. So at the time I was coaching football for my brother's football team, and we had a big epic win against the rival school who had been undefeated on their home turf for like 20 years. So we won. And then another teacher that I was teaching with at the time was like, I got an extra ticket for the Foo Fighters concert. You want to go? I'm like, yeah. Like I didn't get tickets. And I was like wearing like my like athletic football coach outfit. I went to the concert wearing that. It was awesome.
Definitely nothing wrong with that. So this is Dave and the crew. You can see Drew. See Drew on the sidewalk there. He's coming in. He's coming in. And I really, that would have been like a hardcore hipster autograph to get Drew. I always loved the extended band. I loved Jesse on the violin. It's just they're just great musicians. There's that's my Facebook picture right now. Yeah.
Such a great photo.
It is. And look at my face. Like this is like Christmas morning. Look at me. I'm like gonna explode here.
So you got those Paul Weller sideburns there. That's what you meant, right? The all my life sideburns.
That was my Dave all my life. I think he went through that. Remember when he was doing the whole like almost fear and loathing glasses sideburns thing? Remember that?
Yeah.
Anyway, well, I do, and that was what I was trying to emulate. And I would always put my hat on because I didn't want Dave to see the same haircut as him. So I would always wear a hat.
Are you the guy from the Resolve video?
That's another great video. Remember, Dave's like, "What?" Yeah, that's so good, man. Yes, the answer is yes, I am.
And that's where he wears the Motorhead shirt.
Yeah, there's me in the background too. Oh wow, look at that! Look at that.
I think that was like a early Foo Fighters like kind of styled jacket that you have on. I think like Dave has the yellow one in like.
No, this is a very crappy winter jacket. It's garbage. I don't even know why I'm wearing this. I'm embarrassed that I have this in the photo. Sorry, Dave. And I guess I'm remembering things wrong. I know I got kicked out, but obviously they've started the interview and I'm still there. So yeah, I don't know. Can't explain that. Where are we here now?
Oh yes, this is out west. So me and Mikey went. This is Wasting Light.
All right, it is. It is Wasting.
Oh, wait, we skipped Echoes.
We skipped Echoes. So let's go back to Echoes here. This 08. 2008, 2007,
2008.
2008.
Yeah, I never got to see them on this tour. Did they tour much? This one?
Oh yeah, sure they did. Yeah, this was the Pretender, man. This is when they exploded. This is when they became an arena only rock band, pretty much. That song, The Pretender, that video was insane. And Ferg, you and I were in a band called The Honor Roll.
That's right.
During this time, I remember because this record has a song called Summer's End, which is one of my favorites. And I specifically remember driving to Scott's to jam in St. Thomas, and I would always put that song on, the warm summer sun, and listening to Summer's End was just always remind me of that time. So we got The Pretender, we got Let It Die, Erase, Replace, Long Road to Ruin, which I think the video is great. I've never been a huge fan of that song, but I mean, we got Handsome David Off and Ty Hawkstone. It's all good. All the characters from that soap opera video is just, again, their humor is just incredible.
I think I remember making some like Microsoft Paint photos of like Dave and Taylor in that video. Like, I think I used to always send it to you.
Well, we would always do the
remember the like get out of here,
beat it, because in the video, Dave's like trying to be the leading man, and Taylor is very handsome, right? So we'd always come in and steal the show, and all the girls were always like Taylor. So he's like, beat it, get out of here. I'm trying to do my thing.
There's a funny little joke there.
But honestly, I think is a song that doesn't get enough love too.
That's true.
Yeah.
But honestly, it's a great. That should be the end song, but we have Home. And Home, of course, Ferg has a very special connection with us. Go ahead on that one. Yeah, Home's a great one.
Yeah, it's such a hard-hitting song. One of our friends passed away. He was one of the guys that I saw at the Foos in the Australia show I backpacked with. And, he passed away, and I was talking to his family, and they were looking to get a playlist going for the funeral anyway. That was the song I recommended, and we ended up flying out to the funeral, and that was the song they played as they brought him in to the church.
Yeah.
It was pretty heavy.
Yeah, to this day,
beautiful song.
To this day, that song, and it's Dave playing just the piano. There's drums and stuff kicking later, but I mean, it's a haunting song. It's beautiful and haunting at the same time, and
it's heavy to begin with, and to have it be the music at someone's funeral, it makes it even thicker. Wow. Yeah, that's a great story.
So, favorite song on Echoes, Joe?
I'm gonna change it up a little bit. Parts of songs that I love. I love the little breakdown in Erase Replace. It's just so epic to me. They just do something that they don't normally do in that little breakdown.
Yeah.
And the ending of But Honestly is just so good.
Yeah. Ferg, I think I know, but what's your favorite?
Oh, that's interesting. I'm surprised if you don't. This is actually, what Christine was saying, this is actually might be my favorite album as well. I love this album. I feel like maybe it gets enough love. I'm not really sure, but to me, it meant a lot at the time. I really like the tune Stranger Things Have Happened.
Great song.
And I don't know if it's a big fan favorite or not, but I just really dig that.
That's the one with the metronome.
Yeah, my wife loved
really
that.
Cool, man. Yeah.
But I'm on the same boat with But Honestly and Home are just excellent. The whole record's excellent.
Yeah, I think it's one of those. It's not like All My Life. Like the songs are good. I do think it's an interesting combination of songs. Like it's maybe just at this point it's like we're gonna put out what we want. This is what we wrote. This is what There's not that. There's definitely an aura to the record, but it kind of brings you in a lot of places,
You got one of the biggest bangers though next to All My Life, which is The Pretender.
Of
The
course.
Pretender is so explosive, and that video that goes along with it is in the same vein of All My Life, where it's just insanity. The Pretender live, I don't think is nearly as good as the record, they've never seemed to hit it. Just
It's hard to sing.
The vocals have always been. I've always found in the Pretender, Dave goes low, which is fine. Taylor goes high, but Taylor's mic is never loud enough. It's never been loud enough, just with the live stuff. But I find the record version is amazing. I would say the Pretender is my favorite on. But honestly, it's really close.
It's interesting what you say about that, because I feel like, I mean, like, I know that they produced it and hyped it up, like where they do that whole section in back and forth on it, right?
Yeah.
But and it's so action intense, right? All the shots and everything. But I always feel most impressed, and a lot of people don't talk about this, how good of a singer Taylor is.
Yeah.
And so
absolutely.
it's like what, you're playing those insane drums and you're singing the high part in the song.
Yeah.
Like it's just an example of, like you had said earlier when you introduced us, he's not just a drummer, he's a musician. And he just, and his vocals are, I mean, I'm not trying to say that that's his best vocal moment, but when you think of a performance, that's impressive to me, that song.
Well, the fact that he can sing Queen is
yeah
insane, right? And he does it so that he doesn't try to emulate Freddie Mercury as far as his tone goes, but he can hit the notes, but in a different way. He's got a really kind of rough rocker voice. It's just a really cool original voice, and I'm glad, like in the later records, that he actually got in the acoustic version. We actually didn't talk about the acoustic version. Are we getting into that? Or did we skip Skin and Bones, because there's a lot of good stuff there? If we did, we
did skip Skin and the Bones.
Yeah.
I would say in a flash, it's a great record. There's songs I could live without, but I'm not trying to be negative.
But I should say that the acoustic version, or the acoustic side of In Your Honor, has some of the best written Foo Fighters songs of all time. Those songs remind me of being at the ski hill, which is close to our house here, in the summer, and just like laying on the top of the ski hill, looking up at the stars and just listening to that whole side. That's what it reminds me of.
Yeah.
It's just peaceful, beautiful songs, right? And he does Cold Day in the Sun, but I'm glad that he did get one or two songs here or there on records, because you're absolutely right. His voice is incredible. So where are we here? So Wasting Light. Wow. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't have any. Sorry, I didn't go to that tour for some reason. That echoes silence. Yeah. Or I don't have any photos from it.
2011, and Joe and I got some great photos of this tour, but I don't have them. All of these photos are all of ours, but they were uploaded by Ferg here. Again, thanks for doing that, dude. But we're here in 2011. Geez. I have what I think are the two greatest records, in my opinion, behind me. And then I see this, and I just remember I've had the fortune of playing with so many great musicians in my life, and I've been in so many great bands, two specifically, one with you, Ferg, and one with Joe. And this was the time when Joe and I were really connecting again, both as friends and as musicians, and our band was just soaring along with this record. So this time in my life is so special, and I can't believe that it was 10 years ago. Wait, 11.
Yeah,
11 years
11
ago.
years ago. And I think to add, we're all musicians, we're all passionate about music, but there was something about this, like I can sometimes I get the whiff of a summer breeze, and it brings me back to 2011, like that summer, like starting to write new material, because we're going to get, starting to rehearse material for a new band. And then this kind of became like the catalyst at the very beginning to really it was probably the time, even though it was like later in our lives, it was probably the most obsessive I ever was about any particular Foo Fighters record. And I don't know if it was part of the marketing, like the back and forth coming out with this. And remember, we went to go see Back and Forth in the theaters, and then maybe remember when it was done, they played the record like a satellite feed, and it was like live in the theater, and it was just like all this amazingness that was happening, and and the record was amazing, like every song amazing. I feel like of all the records, this one to me is the one that feels more like like a real thematic angle on a record. Like every song fits. Like it's just like boom. There isn't like that. Why did they do that weird one in the middle? Like it's not like that at all. Every song here, even I should have known, which is like a little different, but it really fits as like kind of as a closer, you know.
This is kind of like I should have known, as kind of like the Ain't It the Life song, where it kind of stops everything. And I'm not saying that's not it's not a bad thing by any means, but having Chris Novoselic play bass on that song, then you have the fact that they get Butch Vig, who did Nevermind with Nirvana, to do this record. And it's just like, and every song, like Bridges Burning is one of the greatest rock songs I've ever heard in my life. Forget Foo Fighters, like the 3 different guitar parts that are always doing something different.
Yeah, so like Pat's back in the band now. So it's like now
Pat is returned. He's full time. So you have 3 guitars. Nate pounding away. You got Rami in the band full time playing keys, and now you have Taylor playing this insane drum beat that is actually keeping time with what the guitar is doing. And how many times have we tried to play that song? And if you haven't played drums in a while and you try to play Bridges Burning, there's no way.
We always go to that one, as we always try. Like
it's hard, dude.
When we're jamming, it's like we'll break it. I think it's just because the first riff is fun, you know. And I just remember
the 3 guitars layer on each other, and a lot of these songs they do that, where it's one guitar, the 2. Like Rope is a perfect example of the layering, right? Walk is great, Lise. Walk is in that video for Walk, based on Falling Down with Michael Douglas.
Yeah, great movie, great video.
So insane.
I love it how they're all, like when they're joking around with the cops at the end.
This time specifically also is a time in our lives, Joe, when every day it was go, go, go. Every day it was like we were living it like it was our last.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't know why that is.
School.
In a good way. In a good way. It was like music. We jammed so many times a week. We had 2 or 3 shows every week, and it was just go, go, go.
And when we weren't doing that,
if we weren't jamming and we weren't doing shows, we were hanging out and listening to music. And it was just a really, really powerful time. It reminds me very much of the Color and the Shape days, Ferg.
That's what I mean about, like, it was like revisiting that level of obsession for something, you know. And I you started talking a little bit about it with Bridges Burning, but I just think that this record has so many parts where you're like, you know, what are the top, you know, you can say, what's the top 3 Taylor drum parts? So Bridges Burning as a total, but for me, I'd also say like the breakdown in Rope is unbelievable. You know, where he's like, and like, just like, and you're like, what's he playing there? Like, it's, how many hands does he have? Like, it's unreal. It's unreal.
The Tom roll to the cowbell. That part, I haven't figured that part out.
Unbelievable.
And the ting 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 on the ride bell, a very Rush style. And he's the chorus is very Neil Peart, right? That he ripped that off of. But after these days, like, how do you like it? Every song is incredible, and that video still brings tears to my eyes. It's so great. After these days, when you hit back and forth, Matter of Time and Miss the Misery are almost like one song. It reminds me of almost the end of Abbey Road, where just one goes into the next. Until you get to I Should Have Known. And then Walk is another one of those legendary closers.
I gotta give props a bit to White Limo too. It just reminded me back to that Weenie Beanie Day. It was like just like a nice throwback, like Dave saying, I can still do this. You know.
And that was the song that they were banging around in the In Your Honor times in 05, man. Like, it was an old song. And it finally, I'm glad too. I loved the distortion on Dave's voice and the screaming, and it was in the video with Lemmy too, like as the limo driver, Dave's wife.
Classic.
Incredible stuff.
With the cops shirt, it's just how, like, you know, like the expressions on the face. Was that video like put out, or was it just like a YouTube drop? Is that, I mean, you know,
well, in 2011, I mean, was there music stations still?
I don't know.
I don't think there was.
But as you were saying that about the throwback to like that kind of scream with the Weenie Beanie style vocals, it's pretty awesome. I think the song that sticks out to me is one that I just really like the groove on it. I love how it sounds. Maybe a little surprised to hear it, but Miss the Misery, I love it. I just love where it goes. It's so natural and cool and calm. And
So, favorite song off Wasting Light, Ferg? That's a tough one, man. Oof.
It is a very tough one. I like a lot of these tracks. Just looking at it, like our Landria, we're not talking much about that, but that's a great tune too.
That's an insane. That's a perfect example of like you need 3 guitars, and they all need to be doing exactly what they need to be doing. There's no.
What about Bob Mould on friggin' Dear Rosemary as well?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Like it's crazy, dude. Like it's so good.
Yeah, I'll never forget the first time I heard I Should Have Known as well, and just like hearing Chris' bass come in, you knew exactly. The second it hit, it was like that. Okay, there's Chris. I was wondering where he was.
Yeah.
I think there's also that cross-pollination that happened at this time. It was like this was a massive record, and then Nevermind's 20th anniversary at the same time. It was just like drinking from a fire hose that summer, you know?
Well, and then you also have Dave wanting to do it old school on tape.
In the house. Yeah,
right.
And in the house and doing the drums in the garage. And amazing.
And then you got Butch Vig, and there's no doubt that this album sounds so great because Butch is the producer. He's insane at what he does.
And Alan Moulder as the mixer it's so understated. He's like the best mixer in the music industry. He's like you couldn't have called in a more A-list guy to do this. It's amazing.
Okay, so give it to me. What's your favorite, Ferg?
I think I'm gonna pick. Yeah, probably our Landria and Bridge Burning.
Which one? Bridge Burning?
Bridge Burning or our Landria. One of those.
Fine. Joe?
Yeah.
Come on, buddy. What's your favorite?
Arlandria.
I will go with These Days. Big surprise, but that one's.
I really liked this tour because they played a lot of the record. You know, like you know, it's like when you're 7 albums deep, it's like you could just play the hits, and they do that. But their solution to that was to play.
They do that
for 4 hours.
They do that to get in, different generations too, which I understand. And if you're lucky enough to be able to still do this in 2011 as a rock band, it's not as bad then as it is now. But obviously, people want to hear Monkey Wrench, don't want to hear Learn to Fly, and I don't blame them for doing that. But I loved the old days, when they played all the B-sides and all that.
Yeah, where's Butterflies?
Sorry,
where's Butterflies? Where's Winnebago?
How I Miss You. Maybe not How I Miss You, because that song is 8 minutes long.
That's a 10-minute version. That's another epic drum.
Look at these two. Look at these two.
This is the tour where he had that big stage he'd run out to on this tour. And
this is the Wasting Light one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that stage has sort of become commonplace ever since In Your Honor. Yeah.
That's the big catwalk, and I got some great photos too. I noticed you did as well. I don't know if you guys did what I did, but as soon as the gates opened, Joe, you were with me.
Yeah,
remember we ran.
I didn't have floor seats.
Oh, okay, so I ran to the middle stage.
Somehow.
I was right against the middle stage because I knew it would be real close. So I didn't even go near the big stage. I just went towards the middle.
Yeah, I think I had someone to give me a heads up on that. It might have been you because I was out west at the time.
Go to the little stage. You're gonna have a front row performance when
nobody will go there. And you'll see at least 3 songs there. And I think it's to see Dave that close at this point in their career.
It was
worth it to me. So that's what
playing it by himself. I think you have some epic videos of that, eh?
I do, yeah.
I think I recall you getting awesome videos of him playing Wheels.
Like, look at that. There you go. Yeah. Look at that. Like, that's
he's looking right at me there.
He's like, I know you.
Is this your shot?
Yeah.
Jay?
No, these are Fergs. These are Fergs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, he kind of bounces back and forth from like the Trini to the Firebird.
That's great.
And the stage elevated.
There you go. That's great. Yeah.
Wonderful.
I remember one thing I remember about this show that we went to was that I feel so stupid that I'm the name, but the guitar player from Rush, what's his name?
Alex Lifeson or something.
He was there, like kind of like watching the show, like off the stage, just like sitting on a case, like sitting on a big amp case, just hanging out. and from where I was, you could see him perfectly. So it's like I think
I remember
at one
seeing-
point Dave he introduced him, Hall of Famer.
I remember seeing Rush with Taylor on drums. So it was everyone but Neil. It was really cool. I can't remember what show it was. It was a Foo Fighters show.
It must have been after the Wasting Light.
Possibly,
Sure.
yeah. So
because I wasn't there.
that's it for all the personal photos, but we're still going to go through the records. I'm absolutely blown away by all those photos. I haven't seen that stuff in quite a long time, so it's just amazing. But we're in 2014. Now this is one I find, at least with Foo Fighter fans, you either like it or you don't. There doesn't seem to be a kind of a middle ground for Sonic Highways. I myself, I love it because I'm a big fan of the show. I love how each song has a different flavor because it was recorded in a different city. I think that's a really great idea. And the songs, this is kind of where they're getting away from traditional rock stuff, and I don't mind it. Are there as many bangers? Probably not, but I think the songs are great. What do you guys think about this record?
I loved the documentary. I was not a fan of the record at first. I just didn't like the idea of making up a song just to make up a song. I don't know. You know, I didn't feel, I don't know. I just wish they didn't call it the Foo Fighters. I think I would have liked it better if it was called something else.
They were getting the
project.
input from certain musicians that would also play on that track from that certain city, right? So there was a lot of influence from the city and from the musicians around that time.
he was making lyrics up about other people's stories, which is cool in itself, but it just didn't feel like a Foo Fighters record. It just felt like a side project.
Would have
which I
been like
wish
a
it
side
was.
project, yeah. Joe, what did you think of Sonic Highways?
Well, in like Dave Grohl's defense, it's like when you've accomplished what he's accomplished and you're still very ambitious with music and it's in your blood, you sometimes just want to do something different, you know. And I think that I agree with Ferg. I loved the documentaries. I'll watch any music. To be honest, I love music. I'll watch any documentary, even if it's a band or a musician that I don't care for. I love hearing the stories. I love the storytelling of it. There are definitely a couple of songs on this record that I think are really good, but I sort of also sit sort of where Ferg is at, like, not that you need to have any other sort of rationale for why you write a song, but I just feel like there was. I guess I could have done without the record, is what I'm saying. If it was strictly a documentary, and they didn't ever show the process of writing a song because they wanted to highlight, you know, the guy from New Orleans, or, you know, like it was all cool. I just think this is where I didn't go see any of the shows. I don't even know if they toured for this. I was almost a little bit unimpressed with it. Looked to me like it was following suit with the back and forth style of marketing that they're going to put together some sort of thing to, like, you know, embody the record.
So I agree with what Lisa said, where if it goes in context with the TV show, it makes more sense because Dave picked up the lyrics from the interviews he had with all the musicians in the different cities. So it was really just as a record, I can see how it's weaker. But when you put it beside the show that was so well crafted, it makes the record come alive. And I appreciate it as a record of talented musicians, but I agree, I don't necessarily think it sounds like a Foo Fighters record, but I love it. And the more I listen to Sonic Highways, the more I actually like it because it is different, because it's not the same stuff we're getting, right?
Favorite song?
Oh geez. Oh, that's easy. Subterranean, Seattle one. That song is haunting and it's beautiful and it's so good. Subterranean. Yeah. Ferg?
Ooh.
None of them.
No, that's not true. I think I agree with what Lisa said too. Like once you get the movie together with it, I enjoy the songs more.
It enhances it.
But
Yeah.
it just again, all to me it was never a Foo Fighters record. It's just a side project to me, which isn't a bad thing. Anyway, Congregation's really catchy, so I find that's quite catchy. And I like Outside.
Yeah.
Outside's great, yeah.
Yeah, I love Outside too. That is Outside the one done in California, right?
Yes, I believe that's the
So-
Joshua Tree one, I think.
Yeah. So that episode was definitely the California episode. Was
I'll ask
like,
Lisa,
kind
do you
of
remember
broke
which
through.
one was the California song? I think it's Outside, the one that they did the Joshua Tree. She knows.
Yeah, it was
about
at the
that.
Joshua Tree, and then the guitarist from the Eagles played that real simple, sort of like drawn out solo. I just remember that episode made me cry a bit because I was so moved by, again, when you love music, like things like that push your emotions. And there was just something about the story in that one. But
yeah, that's the one,
my favorite song on the record, I think, is "I Am a River." And
I remember.
love
That's
the
the New York one, I believe.
Yeah, I
right?
love the New York one.
Yeah, Paul Stanley's in that one. Yeah, that's good. I think I would have to say the New Orleans one just hits home. There's so many great moments, and this is more the TV show, but I think Taylor, they're like, we're getting ready to lay this down. Where's Dave? And they know he's across the street at the bar drinking. It's so amazing. So Taylor goes over there and gets Dave out of the bar, and they come back and record. It's so cool, man. And everyone in that city, how they're so into music, it's such a big part of the culture that literally everybody plays some kind of instrument, and that they all include each other in their projects. It reminds me of us when we hung out. We try to get everybody in. You play guitar, sure, come in, man. I don't care if we have 20 amps. Remember the party down here that we had with the 2 drummers and the 3 guitars and the bass?
Yeah.
It's just like, I love including everybody into that stuff. So maybe that's why I like it so much.
I really like the recording footage of this record. So like, I don't know if it would come as extra footage if you buy the Sonic Highways like DVD set, but I just remember like, showing them recording something from nothing and like just all the live recording of making it. I really enjoyed that footage.
The Austin City Limits one is another great episode, man. They're so great. Lisa says, no one talks about the desert when talking about the LA music scene. And I love that they converted it because so many bands recorded there. And that's a sad story too of the person who ran that, how he passed away.
Yeah.
That's another haunting one. The video for that one, they also shot videos for every one of these songs with the lyrics on the screen, which is kind of a cool concept. But this one's outside, I remember too, this video. The desert.
It's literally outside.
So cool.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I mean, this is 2017. Now, this is my least favorite. I'll just say right out of the gates. This is my least favorite Foo Fighters record for the very reasons that you say, Ferg, because this to me doesn't sound like a Foo Fighters record. It sounds like a Dave Grohl project. This has McCartney on drums,
and special guests.
It's got Justin Timberlake on vocals, which is fine. But just for me, the songs aren't super great on Concrete and Gold. I don't know how you guys feel. Here's the track listing. They're really small. Oops.
Jeez.
Yeah, I can't even read that. So let's just go back to this. I don't know. This was a record that when it came out, I remember there was not a lot of hype around it. Their logo, I couldn't stand the 2 F's together like that. It was just really bizarre. And the songs, I mean, Sky's the Neighborhood is weird as it sounds. I think that song is phenomenal. The video is great. That's my favorite song on this record. T-shirts, okay, I guess it's kind of like Doll. I don't know. What do you guys think about this one?
Can you go back to the list of the songs?
Can you see it? I don't know why it's so small. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, I apologize to all the viewers out there. It's a little tiny, but
I can zoom in on it.
Side A, B, and C. I love it. So I was already getting distant. Like, so, you come off this massive high from like living in the world of Wasting Light for like a couple of years. Like, it wasn't like, it was something that was celebrated for like a month or two. It like went on, and then Sonic Highways, good, but like, how are you gonna top Wasting Light? And then this comes out. So I feel like this is a period that sort of distanced me. It's not like I didn't love Dave and Taylor and the rest of the band anymore. It's just like, that's cool. Like this is maybe for someone else, you know, because I'm not going to say just because I didn't love it that it was bad. I think the irony of it, because I remember you guys went to that big stadium show for this, you got some great photos from that too. They weren't up close, but this ironically was the show. I remember this Toronto show that all these people were coming out of the woodwork as like these big Foo Fighters fans. And I thought, this is what dragged you out to really, like, I was almost a little shocked. I thought like, it wasn't Wasting Light. Like, I don't know. I don't know.
It's weird, right? Because what song, you know, some song sounds great to you, and then you know, I'll be like, how can you like this band? Like, how do you like this song? It's just crazy, right? So it's really, you can't really judge it on that. But yeah, I think the songs are they're just weaker. It's a very soft record,
yeah,
which is not necessarily bad, but the songs just didn't. Plain in black and white, the songs just didn't do it for me. They didn't have the hooks like I'm used to, and I didn't care for all the guest appearances. You know, again, I'm with you, Ferg. It's like make another Probot record and call it Concrete and Gold. You know, make it softer, but this wasn't a Foo record to me.
No, I get where you're coming from. I think it's all sometimes how you experience the record too. For me, this record, I just moved to a new city. I was living out at my sister's place. And taking the bus for an hour and a half every day into work, or well, not an hour and a half, hour and 10 minutes. But regardless, so this one I put on the headphones and listened front to back over and over and over and over again. And I didn't like it at first either, but it really grew on me. And it's not one of my favorite records, but it's better than I originally had thought it was in my.
Yeah.
It's like there's a difference between the record that you really engage because you just love the songs, you love the melodies, like, you know, like music creates memories of your life. This is like one that you're like, I can play in the background and I'm happy with that.
You
know?
It's I agree with you, Ferg. It's one that I've started to listen to over the last few months, and it's grown on me. Like stuff like Dirty Water's great.
Yeah.
But I mean that's Concrete and Gold, and you know, I was always wondering, it's like, can Dave release anything and I'll be a big fan of it? And this goes to show that that's a no, which I also think is good, right? Because it's, you know, I don't have blinders on. It's like, yeah, this just doesn't really speak to me like as a,
you know, I'm not going to be specific, but like, you know, try to make the comparison. Like, so look at someone like Paul McCartney, right? Comes from the Beatles and then does several other solo projects, involve other things. There's got to be a couple Wings records that you're like, I don't like that. Like, you know, it's like, it's okay to like not love everything, you know,
which is crazy too, because I think the song Taylor does on this, Paul plays the drums on.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah. So that's really cool, man. But anyway, favorite song, mine would be Skies of the Neighborhood. I love it. I love how Dave's kids are in the video. It's awesome.
Singing on it, right?
Ferg, what's your song?
And I also want to give a shout out. I think Greg Kirsten worked with him on this, and I like Greg Kirsten. But
yeah,
I actually like La Di Da.
La Di Da.
Yeah.
Okay. Joe, what you got?
I'm gonna just be honest. I never even listened to the whole record once. I got very bored quickly. I went back to revisit a couple of the songs.
Yeah.
I do like Dirty Water. Not a huge fan of Skies in the Neighborhood.
Then that's fair, because that song is really different. I mean, most of these songs are really different, but that one's really out there. But that's fair. But I definitely think you should go back and listen to it, because it's starting to grow on me.
I think, and I don't know if I'm segueing into this or not, if we're talking about this one, but to me, the redemption was when they put out the EP. Like,
Saint Cecilia.
Saint Cecilia, yeah, I didn't include that because it was an EP. That was 2015.
But I was going to say, I think that was
after Sonic Highways. Yeah,
I was going to say that was actually before Concrete and Gold. So I think, and I really loved
Sonic Highway, or Saint Cecilia was a banger. Like those songs are
That was
Pure
just,
Foo Fighters
yeah,
rock.
just don't. Just to remind you, we can. It's like I can put out a record that sounds like our first record.
That redeemed Sonic Highways for me.
Yeah. So I think maybe. Sorry. So I got my chronological mix up there. But what I mean is like when I sampled Concrete and Gold, I'm like I think I'll just go back to this EP. Thanks. I liked that better. So it is what it is.
And now we are here, present day, with their newest record, Medicine at Midnight. Recorded during the pandemic, recorded in 2020, released in 2021. This record, the art, not such a fan of the cover art. I think it's the first Foo Fighters record that I was kind of like, art's pretty weak. But I love this record. It's got actually my favorite Foo Fighters song. So Times Like These has been dethroned.
Wow.
And Making a Fire is my all-time favorite Foo Fighters song.
It is great.
This has to do with my personal life, with the passing of my mother. That happened days before Waiting on a War came out. That got released. And then the record came out, and Making a Fire. And for some reason, that connects me with everything that was going on in my life, and just kind of getting past all that, and almost like, she was looking down, being like, it's okay. And I know Waiting on a War has nothing to do with that. But Dave's melody in that song is insane. It's just crazy. What's that?
It's what music does, though. It's like
yeah,
it has nothing to
it
do.
ties you to a certain spot in your life.
And like, who's to say when you hear a certain song and it has nothing to do with your mom, but like it brings you there, and like that's the awesome part about music. And I think so. I was a bit thrown off. I didn't like Shame Shame at all.
Oh man, I think that's one of their worst songs.
There was their first single. They dropped that in around Christmas 2020.
I really like Taylor's like shuffle drums on it though. Like Taylor does a great job on like, showing his diversity, right?
That's one that sounds better live than it does on the record. Definitely.
I think if they just left out that shame part where they whisper it, like I like kind of the bridge, but just the
I remember
hearing shame.
I remember hearing Shame Shame. Is that the one where they had the video where they're dressed up like old guys?
No, that was Run from Concrete and Gold.
Shame
Shame was where it's black and white. Dave's walking around, and there's this woman that's constantly attaching himself to her.
So my fear here was that this was gonna, for me, like, I mean, I liked Sonic Highways. I didn't like Concrete and Gold. I was scared that this was going to be like the third strike of Foo Fighters records. Mainly because I was scared because I didn't like Shame Shame. Then I heard a little bit of No Son of Mine. I was like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
But when you hear the little clip that came out as a teaser, like isolated, like you don't really get an idea of what the rest of the song is. So I'm like, this is horrendous. But Waiting on a War brought me back in for sure. It was. I remember us talking about it, Jay. Like, oh, wait to hear this one.
And the video that accompanies it is really.
It's very cool.
Yeah. And I always said, Dave's a few years older than us, and he's looking older in that video because he is, right? But there's something really comforting about that for me. It's like, it's okay to get older. It's okay to not be as crazy. And this record really does that for me. It's just kind of like, we're never going to go back to the This Is a Call days, right? It's just, you don't do that anymore, right? This is where we are. And this record really made me okay with that.
I love the record. I think again, I think it's, they could have made it 8 songs and just taken out Shame Shame, and I would have been happy with that.
Ryan says Shame Shame reminds me too much of a Randy Newman song. If anyone knows this stuff, I would agree.
Yeah, totally.
Chasing Birds, very Beatles. Very Beatles. Love Dies Young, a very like poppy dance song. It's really a lot of different genres in this. And, Dave's always said that since the beginning, since the very first record, all of his songs are different from one another. So
when I first heard Making a Fire, I was like, is this how he gets his daughter into the music industry? Like, and I just thought, like, it was okay. But then I think that sort of pre-chorus, like "Are You Afraid of the Dark?" like that is such an example of like how Dave will take kind of like a funny kind of verse and then just transform the song with like a little, that pre-chorus into the chorus. It just makes everything what it needs to be.
The
Great,
chorus,
great
the "This is the last time," that like, it's my favorite chorus of any song ever made. Like, there's something about that song. It's just explosive to me.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
feel like
Yeah.
I can't listen to it and like be in a bad mood. Like when I just think about making a fire when I hear that song. I just want to I just want to like make a bonfire and like, we're coming into the summer months soon, and it's like a celebration song. I just really, really like it.
We are on the 3-hour mark. I appreciate everybody who is in chat still sharing their memories and just listening to us old dudes talk about I'd say our favorite band, one of our favorite bands.
Yeah.
Now, the moment everyone's been asking about, Lisa, this one's for you. Our favorite record. I'll go first because it's quite obvious. In Your Honor, 2005. Just from where I was in my life to just the great songs. And I guess it's kind of a little bit cheating because there's 2 records in one. But I love the acoustic just as much as I love the rock stuff. But the rock stuff is banger after banger. And the acoustic stuff just lulls you to sleep and mellows you out. It's the perfect balance of everything. So In Your Honor is my favorite. Ferg, I'm dying to know your favorite record.
Oh gosh. I mentioned Echo of Silence, Patience and Grace. When it came out, I thought at the time it was my favorite record at the time. But if I'm going over them all again, which I have been again, listening to each one thoroughly, I'm surprised to say this. I think Nothing Left to Lose is probably their most solid record front to back.
Right.
And I don't love necessarily how it was recorded. It's good. It was raw and you could feel it. If it was polished a little bit more, it might have gotten a little bit more.
But not one by one polished, not too polished.
Not too polished,
right.
no. Yeah. No, but I think Nothing Left to Lose is.
There's nothing left to lose. Excellent. Mr. Bonasia, what is your favorite record?
Oh, I almost want to agree with Ferg because to me, there's a personal piece to that record. I felt like I was alone in the universe when that came out, and I feel like despite the massive hits on that record, I felt like it was personal.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna say.
But no, I'm going with another.
I'm gonna.
Honorable mention. There's nothing left to lose.
Yeah.
But
I'm gonna say Wasting Light. I can still listen to it front to back, and I could be like chugging whiskey and having a party, or I could be like mopping the floor. Like I did, I love the record top to bottom.
Amazing. You really can't argue, and you can't go wrong with any of them. And I have all the stacks of singles. We didn't even get to that. Maybe we'll do another podcast in the future going through all the great B-sides, all the great record store releases like Medium Rare, like songs from the Laundry Room, Hail Satin, all that stuff that we didn't get to.
The Touch soundtrack.
That's right.
The Touch soundtrack.
I have that actually.
I love that Touch soundtrack.
Do you have mine still, by the way?
I think I have yours.
Yeah, you do have mine. I haven't had that since 1996.
And I also had one of your Jerky Boy CDs, which is another podcast altogether.
I would like to thank everybody who turned up tonight in the chat and shared their experiences with us. Ryan, Lisa, thanks for sticking around for the whole entire 3-hour experience. Now we can, say what we got to say about T, and really, really, really sucks, man. And it's really feels like we've lost a family member. It really feels like we've lost a brother, and the heart of Foo Fighters will never be the same if they continue on or not. Just want to say, dude, I love you, and you're going to be missed, man. You've been there for our entire life. And that's all I got to say. Ferg, you want to say something?
I just echo that as well. No, it's not going to be the same. Yeah. Yeah, no words.
Joe?
I mean, this is an obvious statement, but I would have been much happier to find out that they just broke up and that they were never going to put out another record, or that it was just like, we're just closing that chapter. And like, this is obviously under very different circumstances. And yeah, it's tough. Taylor will be very missed. My heart goes out to his family, and obviously, to the band. You think, like, this is, when in the tumultuous time of a band, like, Pat losing Darby and in the Germs within the couple of years of them being a band, and then Nirvana a couple of years, and like this to me holds like a different sort of tragedy to it, because it's like they've made it, like they're in the Hall of Fame 25 years, and then to lose somebody in this sort of suddenly like this is just a terrible tragedy. And we'll always have the music and all the great stories that we shared tonight, so it's
Joe and Ferg, if you want to stick around for about 4 minutes after the show, we'll just do a little post show chat. Guys, thanks very much. If you missed the beginning, I made this little funny video of some of my favorite Foo Fighters clips, so enjoy. Until next time, guys, take care, and we'll talk soon. Love you, Taylor.
Peace out.
My name is Dave Grohl.
I'm Taylor Hawkins.
My name is David Eric Grohl. I'm 29 years old. I'm a Capricorn. I was born in Warren, Ohio, and I play guitar and sing for the Foo Fighters.
I'll leave it up to you. I'm quick. That's my girl.
Have you got girl power, Pat? Go girl power. Go on. Go on.
Girl power.
You seem a bit picky to me. Are you picky eater?
You mean, do I pick what I like to eat? Yes, I do.
When he first joined the band, I mean, we were like in love with each other. Like the minute the first time we had a beer together, we're like, we're gonna be best friends for the rest of our lives. And it's true. Like we're like this. Yeah.
Love you. Awkward. To say thank you very much for letting me have my own bar tonight to hang out with my good friends. You put that shot in my mouth right there. Let's do it right now. Did you get it?
Yeah. I like to keep in shape. Do a little bit of workout every once in a while. Drumming takes a lot of physical endurance.
Do you find the weights help you drum better? Drum louder, maybe?
Drum harder.
What sort of things do you demand on tour?
Instruments.
Bones that I can't break.
Come on, let's go. Whoa, there's Celine Dion. Where? Right there. Do some. Thanks. You haven't even heard it yet.
Hawkins is pretty sweaty.
I'm pretty sweaty.
I'll be honest.
When we get going.
He's a pretty wet dude.
Yeah.
Jonesy played guitar, jamming good with Will and Ryan.
Taylor Hawkins, bring those pants out here right now. They're very revealing. Obviously not Catholic.
Hey, come on in.
Come on.